in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie's still on vacation, and Andrew Bogusch will be sitting in the big chair. And I say big chair because we've already lost Bogusch for the most part. He doesn't. There's certain chairs that you can't work in, right?
Is this why Maggie's not here to protest the working conditions of this place? This is, to pull the curtain back, we're like in a 2-week battle over chairs.
Yes.
Like, friendships have been ended. We have done physical pranks on people who have been kind of the leaders of the chair gate situation around here. And this chair is the worst one on the floor.
What is the difference? It's just a chair, dude.
You want to sit in this one? You have a nice, pretty new one. This is why you can sit there and be all high and mighty. Well, I'm actually high and not mighty in this stupid chair that I can't get to sink. I feel like I'm 7 feet tall.
Oh, my God.
And it's uncomfortable.
I'm co-hosting
back
with
to
a
sports.
madman. By the way, you say that, there is a theory out there.
Which is what?
Chairgate is being driven by one person who is particular about their chair.
It's not a theory. It is science, and I am the lead researcher.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a real thing.
Yeah, it's Bogusch Gate. Keeps switching chairs around. I don't even really care. Listen,
No. I
it's just
keep
a chair,
putting them
dude.
back after some other madman moves them around to satisfy his whims and only his whims. But the Steelers, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say talk about an organization that seems like they don't know what they're doing. Let's get into the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have been a big topic this offseason. They're waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
Infestation.
They're waiting on Aaron Rodgers. We thought maybe Rodgers would announce his joining the team at Pat McAfee's live show this week. Didn't happen. Their first practice is April 21st. Mason Rudolph's number 1 on the QB depth chart. They're clearly in a position where they either sign Rodgers or draft a quarterback at 21. We don't know what's going to happen. And it sounds like the players on the team don't know what's going to happen. Now, Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, was sitting in for Rich Eisen, Infinity Sports Radio Network, and had some interesting comments on what the Steelers players are thinking right now.
I would fairly tell you TJ Watt probably is getting a little sick of waiting on the quarterback question as well. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you want to play here or do you not?
All right. So TJ Watt, by the way, who is unhappy with his contract, is clearly unhappy with the overall situation here, too. Do we have to go listen to another cut? Sorry. Let's hear.
Cam Hayward, who then proceeded to try to walk that back several times when he said, hey, you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't? I don't need to make more of a pitch than that. Yep. That opinion, from everything I've been told, is not solely to Cam Hayward. There are other people, certainly in the organization, in the locker room, who are just going like, what are we doing? We're back for off-season workouts in 10 days. Mm-hmm. We're coming up on the draft. What is the plan?
All right, we're off the rails again. I blame we had the wrong cut. Somebody's chair is the wrong height over there on the other side of the glass.
You're in the good chair. You should be able to have full understanding of the cuts.
It wasn't the wrong cut.
Manny, I thought you said it was the wrong cut.
No, I
Oh, okay. So basically,
from the top in 3, 2, and 1. My chair's
let's
too
switch
high.
chairs. Let's switch chairs here. Put yourself in a Steelers player's position. What do you want to happen at quarterback? To me, the Steelers last year totally screwed up the quarterback position. They had Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, both very cheap options, and I understood that, but it didn't seem like they had a long-term plan. So now Fields is gone to New York. Russell Wilson is gone to the other team in New York. It felt like they didn't know what they were doing last year. So why would I trust that they know what they're doing this year? I think they have no idea, and they're flying by the seat of their pants. They're waiting on Rodgers. They don't know what he's going to do, and they don't know what they're going to do with the draft. They don't know if Shedeur Sanders is going to be available. They don't know if Jackson Dart's going to be available. They don't know if Tyler Shuck is going to be there in the second round. They have no idea what they're doing right now. I have no reason to have confidence in them. So I get it if the players like, what's going on? I get if the players don't know what cut to call for here in this particular scenario. I totally understand this. To me, it doesn't seem like they have a plan, and I don't trust them.
I understand not trusting them. And I don't really trust them from an offensive standpoint for years because we've gone through, from Matt Canada to Arthur Smith begging for a change, and they give you Arthur Smith, who is not necessarily like a frontline modern-day thinker in terms of offense after all the bland non-scoring from Matt Canada and Mike Tomlin clinging to all of that. So their offensive instincts can definitely be called into question here. But if I had to guess from a distance on this uncomfortable perch that I'm on right now, they probably know Aaron Rodgers is coming.
Okay.
And that's why we're 10 days away from not Mason Rudolph being QB1 as the offseason program begins.
So the offseason program begins April 21st. The draft is later that week. Is Rodgers waiting to see the draft before he comes into the building?
I think Rodgers is waiting to be Rodgers. I just don't think it can be easy, which is you go down the road, and that's the problem with him in general. But just nothing can be simple. Nothing can be obvious. Nothing can be efficient. It could be he's waiting for Earth Day or any other random thing. I've got no idea. But it's just like he's coming. He just can't tell you the exact day.
If they do sign Aaron Rodgers, do they still draft a quarterback? Because I would say do it. Here's the problem. Aaron Rodgers, 41 now, might not like it, but come on, dude. What are you going to have Aaron Rodgers in the building, then nobody next year? Or 2 years from now?
I would hope that they have the you-know-whats to say to Aaron Rodgers, like, listen, we love the idea of you being our QB in 2025. We think there's still a good player in there. We trust you. We believe in you. But at your age and still not far removed from an Achilles blowing up on you, like, you are not in a position to be insulted, offended, bothered by us picking a quarterback because you're not going to be here for 6, 7, 8 years. So they have to pick somebody at some point over those 4 days or 3 days.
Well, it's not that. I mean, nobody's going to care if you take a fifth-round quarterback. The question is, do they take someone at 21?
But
or do they even trade up for Shedeur Sanders, say Shedeur falls past 9?
So for me, the line, and maybe that's what they're waiting for. Maybe they know that they've got Aaron. Like, is there another option for Aaron Rodgers right now? So
nope.
there is leverage for the Steelers to go, hey, we're going to see how this draft plays out. Because if the world presents itself that we can move up and get Shedeur, then we don't need Aaron Rodgers. But to me, that's the line. If it's not Shedeur, anybody after that doesn't preclude them from bringing Rodgers in for a year or two.
Yeah.
Because Jackson Dart and Shuck, those guys, they don't have to play. I don't care how old Shuck is. They don't have to play day one.
Do the Steelers have a duty to communicate to the public, to their fans, and it turns out the players don't know what's going on either? Does Omar Khan, the GM, or Mike Tomlin, the coach, does he have to tell us what's going on? Is there any kind of issue, or is that irrelevant in the big picture? We have, 14 days till the draft. Does somebody in Pittsburgh have to say, hey, we have a plan here? Because if TJ Watt and Cam Hayward are confused, what's an average Steeler fan supposed to think?
Yeah, I don't think they need to show their hand to us on the outside. And I want to say that they should give a couple of guys a heads up because we're going to get to the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic and what he knew about the Michael Malone decision at some point this morning. And I believe wholeheartedly, if you've got Jokic or LeBron or just singular NBA star on your team, that dude should be part of these huge conversations. But on a 53-man football roster, you've got a couple of guys who deserve to have some inside info. So maybe you hesitate to put it so far out there where you can have leaks and whispers, whatever. Maybe TJ Watt should know what's going on. Maybe this Instagram post is just about his contract,
right,
and Myles Garrett and money and has nothing to do with the quarterback, or maybe he is in lockstep with Cam Hayward and just the frustration of, hey, we're all signed, we're all ready to go, we're all going to be there the first day, we have to be there. Why can't this old dude just get in line as well and be a good teammate?
You know what? This Pelissero report puts me over the edge. I was willing to, kind of like you're doing, give the Steelers slight benefit of the doubt that they have a plan here. Now I don't think they do. And again, I'm haunted by last year because what was last year then? Is it possible? I mean, look, nothing changes with a front office mentality. They keep doing things to short circuit their offense. I mean, they got rid of Matt Canada, who was really struggling as the offense coordinator. So they bring in Arthur Smith. Now, Arthur Smith in Atlanta drafted all these skill position players, then didn't use them. So they signed DK Metcalf for all this money, They're not going to use him. Then they have George Pickens, who got no targets after he came back from injury. This is not going to work. This could be really messy. I'm sure because Mike Tomlin will get them playing really hard. They'll win 9 or 10 games. But I don't think that there is any path out of limbo right now in Pittsburgh.
It just feels like what you're asking me to believe is a level of incompetence that I can't give them at this moment. As bad and as frustrating as things have been on that side of the ball for them for the last couple of seasons, I just can't imagine that they're actually okay with a quarterback room that doesn't have Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders in it and has Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson and then these second, third level QBs. Like I can't imagine that is actually in play for them right now. Like, it's much easier for me to assume that they know they can sign Rodgers in the next 3 weeks. Like, it's just going to happen. They're waiting for him to wake up and say, today's the day I'm going to do this. Or maybe they just want to see how the draft plays out. And if Shedeur gets in range for them, that can change their plans. But I still think that part of all of this involves the fallback option, so to speak, of Aaron Rodgers being their guy for next year.
Maybe. That sounds like a lot. But if that's the case, then how come TJ Watt and Cam Hayward don't know this?
Well, because I think Cam Hayward, at the point when he said this, which is what? I mean, we're at 3 weeks on the Cam Hayward, even more than that. So, like, then things could have been different. And we're all guessing at what TJ Watt's social media post meant. We don't know that it's about frustration with the quarterback situation. It might be 10% that kind of frustration. It might be all about his contract. We're just ascribing motive to this post, which means something, by the way, because I went back and looked, and he's not a regular Instagram poster.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, they're very spread out. There seems to be rapid fire. Like, he just had a kid, so there's a couple of posts about the baby and his wife, but those are the first ones in months. And then there's a couple around the holidays, and there's a couple around Thanksgiving. So, like, it's not like he's not a guy who's living on social media, just posting. Like, so if he's posting something, it means something. So that means something, but we don't know exactly what it means.
Any TikTok dances on there?
I didn't see anything like that.
Any Dochi challenge, anxiety challenge dances?
No, unfortunately not.
That's a shame. So, I connect these dots. Louis Riddick, ESPN, comes out and says, I want Shedeur to fall past number 3, to go to a better team.
Yeah.
So he said it would be better for Shedeur Sanders if he did not go to Tennessee, Cleveland, or New York, the first 3 teams.
Agreed.
Louis Riddick, I would imagine, is pretty connected to the Steelers, played at University of Pittsburgh. I think maybe he was kind of saying, listen, I know Dion. Dion is probably rooting for Shedeur to go to Pittsburgh. If he's not going to be the number 1 pick, he might as well go to a team that can win. So maybe there is a sort of the powers behind the scenes want Shedeur in Pittsburgh. Maybe that will be the solution. And maybe Shedeur sits there for a year with Rodgers. Maybe he doesn't. But again, I'm very dubious that this is all going to come together for the Steelers.
See, it's funny. I thought the Louis Riddick comment was coming from Dion.
Right, Dion saying, steer me to Pittsburgh.
Well, I don't know about steer me to Pittsburgh. It felt more like a spin on Shedeur just naturally falling out of that top 3. And then, now, so on the backside you go, you know what, though, this actually makes sense for Shedeur that he went 12 to so-and-so because it's a better spot. It was never going to go to the Titans. The Browns are a disaster. The Giants have been useless for a decade. You know, he dodged a bullet by falling out the top 3.
So you're saying that was spin by Dion through
and Doc Rivers, all together.
You know, because I actually floated that theory to EJ the other day that this was because it's kind of like pretending, I don't like Allison anyway. Maybe it happened to me.
That's exactly how
grade.
it felt to me.
Like in 5th grade when I pretended that I didn't like Allison Turner, and then of course because I knew she didn't like me. I've done that a lot in my life. EJ, do you buy that theory? That Dion is knows he's going to fall, and this is a rationalization?
I definitely can see that because I think you think about Deion Sanders, you think about the Sanders family. What is most important? Being the best, being number 1, winning, most money. Like the idea that he wouldn't want Shedeur to be number 1 or top 3 or one of the most high-profile players in this draft in terms of ranking, I just could never accept for Deion Sanders. Maybe other people, I can't accept it for him. So I don't think there's any way he could look at this and say, know what, going to 21 in the draft is actually good. And in fact, he may go 21 and not even start for a year, but that's really great for Shedeur. Trust me, guys. I don't buy that.
Well, what about the fact that he originally took Shedeur to Jackson State, which is not a big-time program? So it wasn't important to get Shedeur to a D1 school in the beginning. And then Colorado wasn't a big program either. It's not like he steered Shedeur to Alabama or Texas.
But you know what the difference is of playing Jackson State compared to if he went to a Texas A&M or SMU?
Well, I do. I think I know what you're going to say, yeah.
He plays week one. He's starting. He's putting up numbers.
Yeah.
And then Deion brings the celebrity and stuff. So he's still a star, even though he's at an HBCU. See, he can still point to, look at our record. Look at the stats he's putting up. He's first in the SWAC in this, first in the SWAC in that. If he goes to SMU or one of these Texas schools and he's a third-string quarterback, which is what would have happened, then he is on the bench. He's basically anonymous. And that is not anything about Deion Sanders. Nothing about him is anonymous, okay?
I don't think that's the whole story, though. I think it's also because Deion had to coach him. So it had to be a situation where Deion was the head. That's one of the concerns I've heard about Shedeur. He's never had another coach at any level other than Deion. He's never taken head coaching from another person. So that's going to be a whole new situation for him.
Wait, was Deion his high school coach too?
Yes, I think he was.
I don't remember that.
That's what someone told me. And even if he wasn't his high school coach, he was
right. Imagine being a high school coach and trying to.
Maybe he wasn't. I'll double check that. But basically, Shedeur has been tied at the hip with Deion as a coach. So I think there's some questions. I mean, I think the Shedeur character stuff is probably overplayed.
He was offensive coordinator.
He was the OC really? In high school. Yeah.
He was the Shedeur coordinator.
And he was definitely his youth coach. And I think now Shedeur probably played on some 7-on-7 teams that weren't coached by Deion, but I don't know if that's the case. By the way, talking about 7-on-7 coming up, do you know Travis Hunter used to get paid to fly around the country and play 7-on-7 as a high schooler? He was the greatest 7-on-7 player of all time. We're going to get into where he's going to go in the draft later in the show. First, we have to fix this chair situation. It's a disaster here at Infinity Sports Radio Network. Andrew Bogusch, co-hosting for Maggie. Maggie will not tell half the staff where she is. There's a lot to figure out here. We want to hear your thoughts on the Steelers. Do the Steelers know what they're doing at quarterback? Are they going to sign Aaron Rodgers, then draft Shedeur? Are they waiting till after the draft to sign Aaron Rodgers? Is it possible they're just flying by the seat of their pants as some of their defensive players are now opining? I think that's probably the case. I don't think the Steelers know what they're doing offensively, and I have a lot of recent evidence to support that. I want to hear from you, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Do the Pittsburgh Steelers know what they're doing? All right, coming up, we have some big NFL draft news that is going to shake up the top of the first round and might affect your team, Andrew Bogusch. Maybe we'll get you in a better mood despite Chairgate 2025. That's next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff Show. Our tagline for today is Maggie and Perloff Show, working out the kinks. That's some chair issues, some sound issues in the first segment. Maggie's on vacation. Andrew Bogusch is filling in today. And I think we got back on track, a little Pittsburgh Steelers debate. Are the Steelers floundering at quarterback because they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers, apparently, and they may or may not draft a quarterback? Feels kind of like a new version of last year. Last year, where they ended up with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Start Justin Fields. He plays fine. They bench it for Russell Wilson, and then Russell Wilson plays well, flames out at the end of last season. They're both gone. I just don't think this team knows what it's doing on offense, Bogues.
Yeah, I get it, and they're to blame for that because I haven't thought they've known what they're doing on offense for the last handful of seasons. Yep. So I understand why you land there. It's just it's hard for me to think that they're okay with beginning their off-season work as Mason Rudolph really truly being by default their starting quarterback. Like I just it's hard for me to think that they don't have a guarantee from Aaron Rodgers that he's going to sign.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, they'll be 500 with Mason Rudolph.
Will they?
Yeah, definitely. I looked at his stats the other day. I think he has a winning record as a Pittsburgh starter. He's not a bad quarterback, by the way. He's a high-end backup.
Sure. He can. You want to label him as a backup, a high-end, whatever, that's fine. Are they 9-8 with Mason Rudolph?
Absolutely. They are 8-4 8-4-1 with Mason Rudolph as a starter.
Okay.
I mean, if you watch the Steelers play, they win a bunch of games 19-13.
Sure, but that doesn't get them far when it matters most. So they can sign up for Mason Rudolph at 9-8 and a first-round playoff exit if they sneak in, fine. But Aaron Rodgers, because I'm going to be a sucker again like the last 2 years with the Jets,
me too.
Aaron Rodgers, still in my mind, gives them a better chance of reaching that top tier of their division, let alone the entire AFC.
Okay. A lot of this conversation depends on Shedeur falling out of the top 3. That means the Titans take Cam Ward. We think that's done at number 1. Number 2, Cleveland, still slightly linked to Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're probably going to go Travis Hunter. That brings us to number 3. Bogusch, you're a lifelong New York Giants fan. There was good news yesterday about Penn State edge Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I mean, good news from Abdul Carter's camp, so I don't know how much we can fully trust this. Maybe we'll get reports today to the contrary if Drew Rosenhaus was blowing smoke yesterday saying that Carter, who was back in Indianapolis for scouting combine medical rechecks. We know that. We now know he's in Jersey meeting with the Giants. We know he was in Indy. What we don't know for sure is what the recheck showed. Drew Rosenhaus said it showed that the stress fracture in his foot is healing on its own, as expected, on the correct timeline. Surgery's not needed, and they say that his foot should be a non-factor in your draft decisions of Abdul Carter.
So are you happy as a Giants fan passing on a quarterback and taking, a superstar on defense?
So I am infatuated with him.
With Abdul Carter. Yep.
Slightly more so than Travis Hunter. I don't know why. I don't know what it is with me and Travis Hunter. It's not a football thing. It's not a personal thing. I just am not like head over heels in love because I guess I still am struggling to see him able. I don't think he can do what he wants to do in the NFL. I just don't know that it's possible to play every snap of the entire game, play it well with the impact. So I just have this slight hesitation on Travis Hunter. Not on Abdul Carter.
Okay.
The problem for the Giants is twofold. They need a quarterback, as we've discussed a lot, but they also already have 2 versions of Abdul Carter in Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. So I don't know what I guess you can. If you have a third guy now, you have a vaunted, ridiculously athletic, varied pass rush, or you have one too many guys.
Well, how did you win Super Bowls in 2007 and 2011?
Yeah, so who's the Justin Tuck that's going to slot inside on these NASCAR packages? Which I don't know which one of those guys can put his hand in the dirt and move to the middle of the defensive line, which is what they kind of did in those situations.
But no, the first one, you had, you need 3. You had O.C. and Strahan. And who was the third?
There was Justin Tuck was in there. Then JPP was involved on the
Kiwanuka. They had Kiwanuka. So they had 3 traditional pass rushers.
Right, and one guy would play inside in those scenarios. That's how they got the third guy in the mix.
So a lot of rotation. It's a good point. I would assume Kayvon Thibodeau is on his way out at a certain point.
I mean, the Giants also they need good players. They just need good players. Even if it's a little redundant, they just need good players. And Abdul Carter wrecking a game with one arm is, as good of
a high level game.
Right, as a compliment as you can give a guy. So, even if you're right, even if you draft him and that makes Kayvon Thibodeau expendable, then maybe Kayvon Thibodeau turns into something else that helps your roster.
Yep, could be. So I'm going to do player comps later in the show. Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network, the ultimate expert, did a series of player comps that I found very interesting. Love player comps for draft. That's all I really need to hear. Abdul Carter, want to guess who Jeremiah had for him? Big star.
A current player?
Yes, he actually technically is still a current player, I believe.
Ooh.
Actually, I don't even know. Where did he sign? Is he signed somewhere?
So it's not a deep cut. And it's not Myles Garrett or somebody like that. Is he giving you Von Miller, something like that?
Bingo.
All right.
So here's my question. Number 3, you have Von Miller sitting there. Let's say he turns into Von Miller, which is a Hall of Famer. Or you have Shedeur Sanders, who is the next Kirk Cousins. Good quarterback, not Hall of Famer. Would you take the Kirk Cousins if you're the Giants or the Von Miller?
Yeah, this is the whatever it is, the $1 million question. And I spend way too much time as a Giant fan trying to figure this out. And I do keep landing on Shedeur is just not good enough to take Abdul Carter over. Does that make sense? Shedeur's his limitations, to use a very broad stroke, allow the Giants not to take him. But again, I still think part of that is me and them, I think the Giants, the original plan, the hope was that with their first pick of the second round, which is I think the second pick of the second round, that they'd have their pick of the Jackson Darts of the world. So they could go Hunter or Carter at 3, and then with their next pick, get their quarterback. That's not possible anymore, it seems. So I think that has changed the...
Wait, how do you know it's not possible, though? Maybe that's just hype.
Everything seems to be trending towards the back of the first round and having another... I think Jackson Dart's going to go in the first round.
Yeah. What about Tyler Shuck? Louisville quarterbacks.
I know.
25 years old, tall guy.
I know. But I don't mind that he's 25. I just mind that I didn't know who he was until 3 weeks ago.
I kind of feel like if you get a guy at the top of the second round, you might be getting Drew Lock 2.0. Potential that often doesn't work out. All right. Manny's our other resident Giants fan. I feel like you're so beat down, you almost don't even care. But would you rather have the good quarterback or the great pass rusher?
I mean, I see Bogusch's point. I mean, it might be one too many cooks in the kitchen, but I mean, at this point, I think I'm leaning towards Abdul Carter over grabbing a quarterback at this point. I mean, Cam Ward's the guy, obviously. He's obviously not going to be on the board. So, I mean, I think the Giants might be in a position where it's going to be best available, and then they look to fill in that quarterback slot in the second round, early on in the second round. I mean, there's also obviously that possibility that they trade back in the first round. I wouldn't really hate that, but I really don't want to see next year's first round pick go though.
Albert Breer wrote about something very interesting. What if they trade a third round pick to go from 3 to 2 to get Travis Hunter
this year?
This year, trade up with Cleveland, because Cleveland, I don't know why Cleveland would do that exactly, but Cleveland seems like they would take either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, where the Giants, need-wise, are more on Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, if the Browns want Shador, why not make that trade? Move back to 3, get the extra asset, and still get your guy.
But are you psyched if you're a Giants fan to give up a little to get Travis over Abdul Carter?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, because again, the bigger thing is they're just so devoid of fun, talented players.
Oh yeah.
So let's just let just get people on the roster that are good at
football. That's not a Super Bowl plan. We need some fun, talented players.
It's not a plan to have good players?
No, I think honestly, this is a Mike Lombardi thing. You have to plan a whole team, a Super Bowl team. Just don't bring in a guy we need a fun player because we're bad.
Well, no, dynamic, elite player, not fun. Hey, I mean, will be fun to watch, but I mean, he's also if he becomes what he could become, and he is a stud wide receiver and a stud defensive back at the same time, that helps you win games, important games.
Giants already have that really fun guy in the locker room.
Green beans.
Jameis.
Oh, yeah, it's true. But, I mean, they have a dynamic player, Malik Neighbors, and what did that get them? Nothing. Nothing.
I think they need more of those guys. The way I look at it, in some ways I look at it as a basketball team, too, where you have to, improve the athletic profile of your team.
Yeah.
They just don't have enough speed, enough strength, they don't just got dudes. They have a lot of very, average guys for NFL players. And whether it's Carter or Hunter, you're now adding an elite athletic profile guy onto your roster, and that makes everyone else better.
They don't have guys the other team has to plan for.
That all sounds good and idealistic, but counterpoint, who gets to the Super Bowl every year? Patrick Mahomes. You need the quarterback.
Yeah, but that's not, no matter what Louis Riddick says, that's not in this draft.
Yeah, well, Cam Ward could be.
Okay, but Cam Ward also is not in play for the Giants.
You don't think the Giants, right, you don't think they called Tennessee and said, we'll give you something to move up?
Oh, yeah. I hope not, because they think Cam Ward's Patrick Mahomes. They just think he's the best quarterback by a good distance in this draft. But that trade's not happening, so he's not even a consideration for the Giants anymore.
You're absolutely right. Okay. I think we need some more uplifting topics. We've done the Pittsburgh not having a quarterback.
You sound like Maggie right now. Normally we'd be booing her.
Yeah, and we did the Giants having no athletes on their team. Let's talk about some good teams. Gordon Damer's here with updates. Gordon, get us back on a positive trajectory.
All right. Well, we'll tell you first off, this Sports Flash is sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
There you go.
Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Who doesn't love that? Learn more at progressivecommercial.com.
Hello.
Yeah, Justin Rose has never won the Masters. But you know what? He's really good at leading the Masters. This is the 5th time that he's had the lead after the first round. He put up a 7-under 65 yesterday, so he's got a 3-shot lead. It's the 8th time he has had a lead at any point. 3 others are 3 back, including the defending champion, Scotty Scheffler.
It definitely wasn't easy out there. The greens were starting to firm up. It's definitely going to be a firm Masters this year. And, I thought I was playing pretty tough out there. Did a good job of managing my way around the course. Like you said, kept the card clean with no bogeys. And that making no bogeys around here, you're always going to have a pretty good score.
Bryson DeChambeau, good leaderboard. He's at 3 under, so 4 shots off the lead. And how about Fred Couples, one for the old guys, a 1 under 71. I don't mean to look at you, Andrew. I was just looking at both of you at the same time. I said the old guys.
I'm so psyched that Fred Couples is doing well. I celebrate that guy more than anyone.
Yes, at 65, he's the second oldest golfer to shoot under par at Augusta. So a good opening round for him. Rory McIlroy looked like he was in really good shape. On the back 9, he was at 4 under through 14, and then disaster, a double bogey at 15, another double bogey at 17. So he is at even par, tied for 27th.
Let's go back to Couples for a second. If you're a regular PGA Tour player that qualifies for the Masters, and you're in your athletic prime, 28 to 35, whatever it may be, and you shoot a 77 at Augusta yesterday, and Freddie at 65 plays in the red, how drunk are you getting last night? Or are you crying yourself to sleep for how many hours?
Well, are we going to get to our friend Nick Dunlap at some point?
We will. Not here, but at some point.
Okay, so not the worst round of all time, but a bad round, and you see Freddie do this. But you know that he's not going to – he's done this a lot of times. Where it's a nice opening round. It doesn't last.
Right. And he'll probably make the cut based on how good yesterday was. And that's an accomplishment all to itself at 65. But – this is the nature of the game and the nature of that course in particular, but as you're looking around, like you can talk yourself into, okay, I'm not Justin Rose, I'm not Scotty Scheffler, I'm not Colin Morikawa, whoever, but and then you see this 65-year-old Fred Couples playing under par, you go, you're not rethinking your entire career, but it can't be a good Thursday night.
My favorite old guy tournament ever was, remember Tom Watson came in second at the Open Championship? 59, right? That was amazing. And I have a theory, because the fairways are so wide at some of those courses for the British Open, that I could play well there, actually.
Oh. You're wrong.
And many golfers have told me I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
No,
so will we all wait.
But some of those courses do lend themselves to old guys, because with the wind howling and stuff, you can't just get up to the tee and just bomb away like the young guys. So we'll see. I mean, I would love. Hey, Phil won at 50. It happens.
I think it's more likely, if I had to place a little wager on it, that the wheels just completely fall off.
I
don't want to.
I don't think you'll get good odds on that wager, because I think everyone thinks that.
Speaking of wagers, how are yours going for the Masters, Pearl?
So I came in to the Masters.
Any pennies on Justin Rose?
Nope. I sprinkled, Gordon. I sprinkled a little money on about 12 different guys, and it's amazing. I just missed everybody on the leaderboard.
Perloff called me last night. He was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "You see the Masters? Man, you got any money on Scheffler?" He's like, "Nope." I'm like, "What about this guy?" "Nope." I'm like, "Did you get anybody?" "Nope."
I have a little.
You had half the field.
I had some Oberg, and he looks really good. But now most of these guys, I had some odds like Wyndham Clark. Man, I was going to get rich on him, and man, did he not show up yesterday.
And usually, if you're not in the top 10 after the first day, you can forget about it.
Yeah, it's not looking good I was going to buy breakfast for everybody. We're going to need some miracles, boys. We're going to need Brian Harmon to get really, really hot today.
Let's go, Brian Harmon.
Wasn't it Butch yesterday? Didn't you call him Butch yesterday?
Oh, Butch. Who's Butch Harmon again? He's
definitely
swing
a
coach.
person.
Yeah, he's a swing coach.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
he's Brian's dad.
Yeah, it's
is he really?
News.
No.
I believed you too.
I know.
Butch Harmon has worked on my swing before. I'm not lying. He came to the Dan Patrick Show and fixed all our swing in like 30 seconds.
I think Butch Harmon's from the area.
Wait, it might be the other. Who's the other swing instructor? Who's Tiger's guy?
Hank Haney.
Hank Haney fixed my swing, not Butch Harmon. I'm sorry. And honestly, I'm terrible at golf. Spent 5 minutes with me, and I drove the ball 250 yards like it was nothing.
and look at that. He did all that, and you still didn't remember who he was.
It all went out of my head in 30 seconds. I mean, because you have to, golf takes some practice.
Right.
You can't just do it once.
Sure, no.
Yeah, if I had known his name, that probably would have been better.
Probably. Couldn't have hurt. Jordan Spieth is the last wire-to-wire winner, 2015. So if you're looking for somebody to pull off a comeback today, maybe that's what you're looking for.
Jordan Spieth?
Jordan Spieth, well, he was the last wire-to-wire winner, so.
Because I don't have any money on him either. Is he even in the
He
field?
avoided the sprinkle as well, unfortunately. NBA last night, T-Wolves Grizzlies battling to avoid the play-in tournament. They faced off last night. Not too much of a contest, though.
From outside the restricted area, still inside the paint. Two to shoot. Randall's got a fade in the corner, and the three ball no. Slam, follow Edwards. Up with the right hand and down hard.
Alan Horton, the call on the Timberwolves radio network. T-Wolves beat the Grizzlies 141-125. Ja Morant, 36, unveiling a new celebration. You might remember he was fined, I think it was $75,000 for the imaginary mock gun. Last night he started a new one, tossing an imaginary grenade, and said, that's my celebration now until someone else has a problem with it.
Yeah. Be a man. Throw a real grenade
here? So has he learned nothing?
Nothing.
Clearly.
Is he just a jerk? Is that what's going on with Ja Morant?
Was it Barkley or Shaq? One of those guys on TNT said last night the big winner is Taylor Jenkins, no longer having to deal with that crap.
They got a police presence? Are you kidding me?
I mean, we all want to like Ja Morant because he's a fantastic player. Why is he being defiant here?
He's an idiot and a fool.
Yeah, I don't. This one, I don't know. But we're not. I think your Grayson Allen theory is out the window now. He knows what he's doing. He's choosing to do it, and he's welcoming the blowback.
Well, Ja Morant made a comment about how, when he got the fine for the grenade, he said, well, everyone sees what's happening. As if, because I've seen it online, and he's a very online person. There are people who feel like he's being singled out for these celebrations. That other people do celebrations and don't get fined, don't have issues, and that the NBA is making an example of him.
Well, he's being singled out because he's doing a gun celebration and they're getting in trouble for being stupid with guns.
Exactly.
That's why he's getting singled out, because he singled himself out.
Right, singled out is not the right word. But in the NFL, they catch everybody. They don't care who you are. If you do any kind of rifle or shotgun or machine gun,
I've seen
flag immediately.
Yeah, I've seen online, again, he's a very online person. People saying, well, Mikal Bridges does his 3-celly that looks like a gun. Why does Ja can't do a gun? That's out there, and that's where the internet sucks, because you will always find sycophants who will just buy anything. So there are Ja Morant defenders out there, and I know some who think that the NBA's been too harsh on him on these celebrations and that they should lighten up. So he's reading that saying, see, everyone knows I'm not doing anything that bad, so I'm going to throw some more grenades into the crowd. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, how does he say they banned the grenade? What's his next move after that? Is he going to plant a bomb? What's the next violent thing he's got going?
He did say, I cut the quote off there, but he did say that if anyone has a problem with it, he will find another one.
Yeah.
So he's constantly working on material.
Hard to root for him, even though his game is easy to root for. So we'll see where that goes. Anything else, Gordon?
Pacers wrap up the top 4 seed. They beat the Cavaliers 114-112.
All right, the Pacers. We're going to be hearing from them soon as we get closer to the NBA playoff picture. We'll get into that later. Thanks, Gordon. All right, coming up, I promised them. I don't think anyone gets as excited about them. Maybe the audience. NFL player comps. Bring them in. Let's go. I want as many as you can think of. Anybody here has got a good one?
Oh, boy.
Because I got some really good draft comps. Basically, I don't want to hear about the 40. I don't want to hear any scouting report. Just tell me what NFL player he looks like. That's next, Maggie and Perloff Show.
Yes!
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I know one person happy right now. Who's that? Taylor Jenkins ain't got to deal with this crap. He's going to get another job that he deserves. I'm like, I don't have to deal with this immature stuff. You would.
Well, he has a history that maybe he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, maybe just
Leave the celebrations with people might die alone.
Wow.
That seems easy.
Inside the NBA guys talking about Ja Morant's new grenade celebration. I don't get it. If anyone does understand what he's going on here, wants to defend him, I'd be surprised, but give us a call, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I don't think anyone in this room has a problem with celebrating a three. It's just Ja Morant because he was caught on camera twice with a gun.
Right.
And then he was recently talked to about his gun celebration by league. He's just being defiant now, which I understand, but this is not the area I think you want to go into as an NBA star.
And I don't think it's singling him out or being unfair to be like, hey, dude, you can do infinity celebrations minus ones involving guns.
Yeah.
Because you got yourself in significant trouble with guns. I don't think that's being unfair in any way. But I mean, if the league wanted to just say, hey, no celebration that are even remotely violent, what are we getting rid of? Like even like a bow and arrow is violent. I mean, you're not shooting a bow and arrow at somebody to tickle them. So you'd cut off a lot of.
What was
Yeah.
that?
I'm sorry?
You said you don't throw a bow and arrow to tickle somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're going to injure them with the arrow from your bow that you're shooting after your three-pointer.
Is that how you used to gather your food back in?
That's an old joke
1990?
because Manny's 11.
So when I came up the mean streets of Lower Merion, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Look at
First of all,
arrow.
yeah, I never hit a three, and B,
Did they have a 3-point line back then?
Yes, they did, but we didn't celebrate.
Pistol Pete.
We didn't really celebrate much. EJ, you were an outside sniper. Did you have a celebration for when you hit a three growing up in New York City?
Nothing signature. Just throw up the three.
Just throw up a three.
Just throw up a three. Yeah.
Bogusch, did you celebrate?
I was
know you played hoops
shocked.
too.
I fainted when they went in. What are you talking about? That is I'm always impressed that guys remember to do anything, because if I did anything good on the field, it was bewilderment. I didn't have the mind frame to go, oh, remember to do this. I was like, how'd that go in? So that's a hit?
My favorite thing to do is if I get lucky enough to hit a game winner in a pickup game, walk off like Larry Bird and pretend like this is something I do all the time. No big deal. And I know EJ doesn't like this. I'm an act like you've been there before. Hand the ball to the official, maybe shake someone's hand and walk off. Just pretend like scoring a touchdown, no big deal. I don't think the youth of America like my style.
Yeah, no, it's lame. I mean, act like you've been there before. Like
Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson are lame. Those guys are the coolest
lame when
ever.
they were playing. But like the guys now, we want excitement. We don't want no fun league at the pickup.
No.
At the Brooklyn pickup.
But I like guys. Everybody celebrates now, so you'd be contrarian by not celebrating. Get it?
It's kind of boring.
I like how I wasn't asked how I celebrated my 3-pointers.
How is that?
I'm a Mexican who went to public school. I didn't play on the basketball team.
What about soccer? I'm sure you played a lot of soccer.
Did not play soccer. That
was a racist question.
Really? That's where you're going?
You love soccer. You didn't play?
I did not play organized soccer, no.
You talk about soccer all the time.
I talk about basketball. I talk about hockey from here and there. I don't know how to ice skate.
You played baseball?
I played
Or you
organized
kept
baseball.
score for a baseball team?
I played before I did that.
Okay.
I played organized baseball. And whenever I hit a single, everybody knew about it.
Oh, my God.
I'm so bad at baseball that I remember a good foul ball I hit one time.
I believe that.
Remember, I was shocked, man, when I found out you didn't play baseball and that you just kept score. For some reason, because you look athletic compared to the rest of us.
Well, yes. Number one, yes, I am probably the most athletic one of the five of us on this show.
Well, EJ's dealing with an injury, so that's not fair.
That happened like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
We gotta get over that.
Would you guess if you looked at all of us right now, Manny could probably be one of the better athletes on this crew? Maggie's a pretty good athlete.
I was going to say, Maggie was a pretty good high school tennis player, and she's in good shape still from her yelling treadmill videos. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
So I would go, I don't know. I think me, Manny, and Maggie have a leg up on one-legged EJ, and you continue to fall apart when you do stuff.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the question growing up, who was the best athlete?
Oh.
Yeah.
Growing up, probably Maggie, and then EJ.
Oh, okay. No way.
Two-time
Dude, I was
Little League champion.
I was
buddy.
a Y MVP about 1,000 times. I was 6'4".
Y MVP?
Yeah, I was like 6'4" when I was 11 years old. I would dominate.
I gotta find the VHS tape of me swinging a bat.
Yeah. All right.
There's video of me taking jump shots and shooting well. I can shoot.
You like that VHS though? Remember that blast from pass?
All right. We got a call here from Chris in Hampton, Virginia. We're trying to figure out what's going on with John Morant. Can anyone defend him? All right, Chris, what do you think about John Morant?
Hey, what's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
Hey, man. Look, Bogusch was right. He was right on top of it, but he didn't say it. Look, if they don't want it, then you have to. And I know there's a players' association and all this kind of stuff, but it either is allowed or it is not allowed. And if you don't want it, then you have to get it out.
Right.
Out of the NBA. No, we are not going to tolerate this.
So why do you think he does it, Chris?
Well, because of the Players Association, and I know it's tough, but there have to be some rules and standards in life. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Thanks for the call. Yes, it's just such an odd situation because I got to tell you, I've watched many John Morant interviews, and he said that he turned a corner on some personal issues. It seems so obvious. Don't do a violent celebration for this guy.
Or even a gun one. If you want to machete somebody imaginary, go for it. But don't throw the guns out there.
You can say that it's a lightsaber.
You're the gun guy.
the lightsaber celebration.
Yeah, it could be a machete in his head, but he could just tell the press, everybody, that's a lightsaber.
You know, Jackson Dart, Ole Miss quarterback, massive Star Wars fan. I think he does do a lightsaber celebration. All right, we're going to get into the Masters next. Has anyone here been to Augusta? We'll find out. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie still on vacation. Andrew Bogusch sitting in the big chair. Had some controversy in hour one because a non-functional chair was in Bogusch's spot. I see that you fixed the situation.
I have probably committed an HR violation because I gave the new guy the bad chair, which feels like a hazing situation. So, so Gordon Damer, who's still single-digit shifts around here, he now has the uncomfortable super high chair, and I have one of the nice new comfy ones.
EJ, is this whole thing about Bogusch? Is the chairgate? Is there anyone else involved in this? I'm assuming Bilotti is too, our former board op. But is everybody upset about these chairs, or it's just Andrew Bogusch?
I'll be honest. Sitting in that chair the last 2 days, I sat there the first day. I was like, "Whoa, this is rough."
Oh, okay.
It's not good.
Listen,
I've sat in it too.
Man.
I've sat in it.
I have no problem telling the full story. It is what it is at this point.
I just don't like them.
Yeah, I was as mad as I have been in this place early last week. So almost like we're on like 10 days of this, right? Because for a while everybody had falling apart, broken, old chairs. They were as old as the network, a decade old.
Okay.
And then one glorious day, there were like 12 beautiful new chairs waiting for us to just swap them out at our workplace.
It was like Christmas.
It was beautiful. There were chairs for desks. There were new high chairs in the control room that EJ and Manuel are sitting on. It was a very nice, needed gesture by the company.
That sounds great.
Right. And then early last week, I noticed that my nice new desk chair was missing. And I found it in this studio at the Update anchor seat because the legendary Rich Ackerman had switched it because he didn't like the uncomfortable seat that was at the Update spot, even though he sits in it for only a few minutes at a time.
Okay.
So he took my chair and gave me a bad chair. So I took it back. Fine. He then asked me if I would keep switching with him. And I said, no, just switch a different chair. Leave me my chair. There are other chairs that people don't sit in regularly. Take one of them. And then he did it again and didn't even have the smarts to switch it back. So I was mad that he didn't acknowledge my request and just leave me out of this. And then I was mad. I was like, dude, just for self-preservation, switch it back. I have no idea that you did it, and everything is fine. Okay. So this happened last Monday and Tuesday, and I was ready to fight Ack. I was so mad.
No. Were you really ready to?
I was so angry.
Throw a punch?
I told everybody that would listen. I came into the studio before 6 a.m. and unloaded on Pete Bilotti. When EJ and Manny were outside, I told them. I told the people that came in after them. I was ready to go, and that led to Bilotti taking all of the chairs and jamming them into Ack's little update booth.
As a message. Wow.
As a message. And message was sent because guess what? And received because my chair has not been touched since.
Has upper management weighed in on this? Maybe even corporate in Philadelphia?
It hasn't gone to corporate. But the last part of it is Maggie got the crap chair because instead of Ack taking my chair, he took the nice chair that was here and put it in his spot.
No, I've had the crap chair too.
But the crap chair wasn't where it is, wasn't in Maggie's seat for because all of a sudden we came in and Maggie was like 8 feet tall, hovering almighty and moral over all of you guys.
What is wrong? For the audience, what's wrong with this chair? And actually for me, what's the problem?
So it's uncomfortably high. But you can't lower it. No, you can't lower it. It's stuck.
Yeah.
And
that lever is broken.
It's
that lever has been
there's
broken
like something
for years.
there's like something off balance about that. You just don't feel sturdy and it has no arms either.
That's the thing.
It's like it's like riding in a Jeep. You're gonna fall out of it at a quick turn.
I've worked at offices where they bring in new chairs, and the chairs are normal chairs. Are like, this chair costs $1,900.
Yeah.
Like that chair you're sitting on is probably hundreds of dollars.
And I think somebody said something about like they have some crazy good warranty where because we're gonna break them, that they will get replaced easily if they get broken because they are gonna break. And I guess in Ack's defense, there were only new chairs for a while, and then I think they started getting yanked in different directions. So all of a sudden, some of the new chairs did disappear, leading to Ack. But the update seat has always had an old crappy one. And then Ack threw the whole world off axis, and the world responded.
We will not tolerate infestation.
Exactly.
I got to be honest. You strike me as somewhat of a malcontent, Andrew Bogusch.
Lay it on me. I'm listening.
I think sometimes there are things that could be let go that really bother you.
Okay, give me another one. Deeper.
Help me out here, guys. I think you are one of those people who notices the details around you in a very good way. It's one of your great strengths. You're really good. But also, I think incompetence really bothers you, where some people are just like, la, 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 I don't care.
Yes, incompetence bothers me. I don't know that this falls under incompetence for Mac.
It kind of does. It's related.
But incompetence does bother me, even though I am often incompetent myself.
No, I would say that. You're pretty competent.
But no, that is a fair assessment of me. And this one bothered me because I think, and I could be wrong, comparatively speaking to other people around here, I think I'm low maintenance. I think for the most part, I come in, I do my work, I might stir the pot a little bit, and I leave. Other people have a long, never-ending list of complaints. So the one thing that bothered me was, don't take my chair, and my good buddy still took my chair.
No, malcontent was the wrong word. You're a great coworker. You're very good, but you are like the old guys in the Muppets who could sit and complain about things.
Yes.
Like,
that's fine.
Yeah. No, malcontent is absolutely the wrong word. You're a critic.
Yes. That's fine.
I think he's the guy in the locker room, like we talk about those guys missing in the Steelers, the guys that would come around and say, hey, this is how things go in this locker room. You know, you clean up your stuff.
Yeah.
You do this. You
Cam
do that.
Hayward.
Yeah, you know, Brett Kiesel. Like, Bogusch is one of those. So when anyone steps out of line, I think that's when you get the ire of Bogusch.
Larry Foote was a great guy like that.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a day oneer, so I've been here from the beginning. So like I unfortunately I know how things work here. Then there's a standard. The standard's the standard.
There's a totem pole.
And when you step out of line and you knock things out of whack, someone's got to rein you back in.
So when I came here, I think we started off on the wrong foot almost immediately. I can't remember how long it was into my stay here when the San Antonio trip came up.
Yeah, that one hurt.
Did it really, though? It was, first of all, and I still owe that trip.
Yeah.
But I lost a bet because I said Victor Wembanyama was not going to be Rookie of the Year. I called him Wembanyama. Worst call of my life.
Yeah.
I own that take. I'm like, this dude's too skinny. He's going to be outside. He'll get hurt. We'll see. Maybe that's true.
Our first real fight, or at least issue, was also over Wembanyama, but it wasn't going to San Antonio.
You suck, Bogusch.
When you were in the afternoon still, I filled in for Maggie one time.
Right.
And I was very excited because I'm a big Dan Patrick fan, so I knew who you were. We were never really here at the same time of the day, so I only kind of knew you.
Yeah.
So I was pumped to get a chance to hang out with you. And that day, we were coming up with slogans to tank for Wemby, and I said, sell your mama for Wembanyama, which I was really proud of. And you thought I was like promoting human trafficking.
Yeah.
So we couldn't usually use it. And as EJ kind of agrees.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a rare strike of creative genius. And you put the kibosh on it. And then I also never filled in again. So I thought I had blown my one chance to be your buddy. And I still have not made friends with you yet.
This really happened. Sell your mama for Wembanyama. That was amazing. So, yeah, it's not just that. I think my attitude when I came into this place, you're pay attention to detail, everything around here. It took me about 2 years to figure out anybody's name. I still don't know who half the people are. I don't follow anybody on social media. That was an issue when I got here. I
remember that.
Everybody's like... anybody. Like, I didn't follow anybody here. And there were a lot of issues. I had a bit of a bumpy entry into this world.
To the morning world or to the entire...
The entire company, kind of. Because I got here and there was a real clubhouse feel. Everybody knew each other. Everyone was friends. Maggie's been here.
Clubhouse, jail. It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Maggie knew everybody. Maggie was very popular. And I came in all smiling, and I'm like, and hey, good to see you, Andrew. I'm like, good to see you, guy. What's up, bud? I was a lot of that, but now I got to figure it out. All right, let's talk Masters for a little bit,
Bro.
I think the most exciting thing yesterday was Rory McIlroy melting down at the end, because for me, this tournament is about trying to see Rory finally win a Masters. And 18th hole Sunday, can he handle the pressure? We saw him break down. I personally, this is on my bucket list to go to Augusta. Never been. There are a lot of times at Dan Patrick's show where we talked about it, but it's complicated to broadcast from there.
I am stunned that you I would have bet money that you guys did shows from there.
You would do them outside of you would have to do it at a restaurant nearby.
Right.
Be CBS kind of
and
controls
Westwood
that.
own the site.
And Westwood. Yeah. So you don't really get to bring in outside shows.
By the way, not to get off the topic for a second, but my guy Dave Matthews played an SI party at Augusta 2 nights ago.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Augusta
why are we
After
there?
Dark. He's on stage by himself, crushing it, and right behind him is the beautiful SI logo.
Wow.
Sports Illustrated has a Masters party. We didn't do that when I was there.
At least they're a sponsor of the place that's having Masters parties, but he's playing in front of a Sports Illustrated logo.
Don't call it a comeback.
So that raised the question here in the office: is the Masters your ultimate bucket list sports event? Because I think it is for a lot of people, but it is not mine. I have one that I would put over it. I'm going to hold mine. I want to go around the room. Your ultimate bucket list sports venue or event that you want to go to, Andrew Bogusch.
Yeah, I mean, this one actually is pretty close. I mean, my grandfather is who kind of taught me sports.
Okay.
I love sports because of watching it with him, and he loved golf and he loved the Masters. So like the Masters or a Notre Dame football game in South Bend, because he loved Notre Dame too. Like, that's where I would really start. Like, new me now, like currently, I very badly want to see a soccer match in Europe, preferably England, but I just want to I want to be in that mayhem. I've been lucky enough in this profession. Like, you've done a lot now. Like, I've crossed a lot of things off too, so I have less to pick from. And obviously, like, I'd love to see the Mets win a World Series. That's a very specific thing.
It's not going to be team dependent.
Yeah. So going somewhere, the Masters might be second on this list.
Yeah.
You have to go to it.
Okay.
You just have to.
All right, EJ, do you have a bucket list sporting event?
Yeah, it's the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl, everything, the pageantry, the parade, the sunset along the mountains. It's perfection. It's football perfection. And the close second is the Red River rivalry, because I love just the, again, pageantry, state fair. Yeah. Half the crowd is burnt orange, half the crowd is crimson. Like, those are the two events that are very close, but Rose Bowl for me.
Yeah, the annual Texas-Oklahoma game in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. You know, I was wondering, Rose Bowl, the college football playoff, watered that down at all in your mind?
Not for me. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, this was the first year we had it, and it was still a marquee matchup, and there will be years where you'll still have marquee matchups. I still think it's the best.
See, it does feel different for me. It's still beautiful,
and
I still pay a lot of money to go there, but it's supposed to be Big Ten, Pac-10.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with bowl games. As we've expanded the playoffs, which I love, but the bowl games are not the same. I got to tell you, I love being on my couch on New Year's Day. Back in the day, hungover, and there's that. It's a great game on TV too. You have to admit. Yep. You recognize there's no more iconic thing when the shade starts coming down in the afternoon. All right, Manny, your bucket list sporting event
has to be the World Cup final. I mean, the unity that it feels the world has after the World Cup final is something that I want to share. I mean, just to be there, to feel that atmosphere, something that I've seen on television my entire life, and it's once every 4 years as well. It's not something that it's something that's a little bit more rare than all these other events. So I would probably have to go with the World Cup final.
Okay, Manny, I'm with you. That was actually mine. Believe it or not, the World Cup final.
We just introduced you to soccer yesterday, and World Cup final is your...
I'm kind of working to get to the game in New York, or New Jersey, rather, in a couple years. For me, I've been to one international soccer game. Went to a game in Argentina, and it wasn't even... And it was... I've never seen energy in a stadium. And even I've been to a lot of college football games. I did a couple seasons of college football for ESPN way back in the day, and they're amazing. The soccer is... I think college football is America's soccer. It is like nothing I've ever seen before. I can't imagine the energy of a World Cup final. So for me, I'm putting that. I haven't done that many things. I have never done the Kentucky Derby. Now, I don't drink anymore, so I'm not sure I can handle that.
I mean, first of all, mint julep's disgusting. So
Yeah.
whether you drink or not, don't ever drink that thing.
Just hold your breath.
I've really never done the Olympics, which I think would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one too. But
I'm
summer or winter, or do you not care?
Summer I prefer.
Right.
But I'm not the biggest Olympic fan, but I think live would be amazing. Wimbledon's on some people's list. That'd be kind of cool.
See, I've been to the French Open. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, college bowl games. I actually there are some college venues I've never done. Never done LSU at night. I think that'd be really, really cool. But we want to hear from you. What's your bucket list sporting event? Is it the Masters? 888-710-4476. That's 888-710-4ISN. Super Bowl, I think, is some people's, but it moves around. It's a little corporate. It's kind of a weird one. I think
it's weird to go to if it's not your team. Like, it's still the Super Bowl, but you want to go to see your team.
No. I disagree with that. You get to see a concert at halftime. You don't think just being at the Super Bowl is enough?
Well, I was lucky enough to cover the one that was in Jersey at the very beginning of this network.
Oh, you
which
mean
is
the
a terrible game.
Seahawks Broncos?
Yes. So like it was fun. It was certainly fun to be there, and it was a added bonus that it wasn't freezing cold that night either in New Jersey. It was perfect weather for early February, but it still, the game sucked, which didn't help either. But it just, like, if I'm gonna go to a game, I want to see my team in it. Like, I want to go when the Giants stop being terrible and get back again.
Yeah. One more I'm looking at some lists. Army-Navy game certainly qualifies. Yeah, there are a lot of college football venues. And I think for some people, Lambeau in the NFL, or how about Wrigley for the baseball or Fenway?
But is there, we said this last night talking off the air, like, is there another NFL destination other than Lambeau?
I mean, the big TV in Dallas.
And like, it feels like that's the one thing the NFL is not good at. It's like, there's very few settings that you want to be at in the NFL.
Vegas.
Yeah, in some ways, I think the new stadiums are actually the attractions. You want to see the bright lights and what they've done at SoFi.
Well, they don't have old stadiums. Yeah, even Pittsburgh, there's no old stadiums. There are very few.
Yeah.
There's Lambeau.
Even the Bills are building a new stadium now.
And the Bill Stadium, the old one, the old Ralph Wilson, was not great. And the New York Stadium is not good.
Useless. And I mean, even Jerry World, like, it's impressive for a minute, and then it's like almost overwhelming.
Jerry World's a very nice stadium. I've been in that a few times. It's pretty cool. The Vegas I haven't been in. That looks awesome.
Yeah, see, like, that's not a draw for me.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I have been in Vegas.
Yeah, we were in a Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's a beautiful stadium. But you're right. It's so new. That's not and also the Raiders have not been great.
There's only Lambeau.
Yeah.
Like, baseball, you've got Fenway. You've got Wrigley. We had for a long time old Yankee Stadium. Like, those buildings staying around as long as they did is significant.
Stadium.
Dodger Stadium, yeah, right. And like an indoor.
What about the LA Stadium, SoFi? Anybody?
I don't care if I ever see a game there.
I see actually Minnesota, which I've been to, saw the Eagles win a Super Bowl there, is ranked as the number 2 best stadium experience. It's cool, but you're right. Baseball doesn't do it. Football doesn't do it like baseball. I've been to Wrigley and Fenway. Those are worth the trip, 100%.
You actually, speaking of baseball, what I want to do, I've never seen a game inside still. I've never seen a baseball game in a dome. And I think that's got to be a little weird. I want to experience that.
Well, don't go to the Trop. Not that you can.
No, yeah.
Does Rogers Center count with the roof open?
No, I need a roof closed game.
Manny, whose superpower is naming every stadium. What do they call the thing in Houston now?
Oh, that'd be...
Was Enron, then was also...
It was Minute Maid Park.
I know it. I want to give you a hint?
Yeah, give me the first letter.
D.
Daiquiri Park.
You're so close.
I know I am.
Oh, my gosh, Manny.
It's brand new, so I can...
Yeah. Dotson.
Something like Dyson, something like that.
I've been there. That's a really cool stadium. Okay. Give us a call. Your bucket list sporting event, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Coming up, we're going to get back to the NFL draft. I got some player comps. I've been promising them. They're going to blow your socks off next. Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This NASCAR race preview is sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck and Van Equipment. They're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. All right, we go to Manny left turn with a little NASCAR preview. What do we got this weekend?
The Cup Series is at the Great Last Coliseum, boys. It's the Food City 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway. This is Denny Hamlin's race to lose, in my opinion. The driver of the FedEx number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. It's looking for his third straight win after visiting Victory Lane at Martinsville and Darlington over the last 2 weeks. And the winner of the race last season, by the way, Denny Hamlin.
Of course.
The Food City 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway. Green Flag Wave, Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you, Manny. We're looking at bucket list sporting events. I have some lists up. One interesting one, F1 is really a big deal right now. Monaco and Vegas to get
Vegas
into,
has a crazy course.
Yeah, and you can't get tickets. Like, it's very expensive. So I think Grand Prix would be an interesting one.
And NASCAR. I mean,
Daytona 500.
I just want to see it. I want to like hear it. I want to see it. And just be done with it. Just one, and I'm over.
I want to go, if not Daytona, I want to visit Talladega. I think those turns at Talladega, I think are just, the bank turns at Talladega are just bananas. It just doesn't make sense, in my opinion. I want to see it in person.
I want to see the Shake and Bake live, Talladega Nights. All-time movie.
Good movie.
Solid.
Dover, Delaware is not far away from here. I'm going to wet your NASCAR whistle at Dover.
A lot of Eagles jerseys.
The Glen. I'm good with the Eagles jerseys. Watkins Glen. Some road course racing. Yeah.
Brickyard, Indy 500 too. That'd be fun. There's a lot of international stuff. There's a couple on here that I've done that I would not recommend. The New York City Marathon is cool, but that is not bucket list. That if you ever you must have seen that a million times.
The marathon?
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't realize. I went a long time as a lifelong New Yorker, not realizing what a party marathon day was in the city.
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Andreas ran one. I've covered one. It's a big deal. Massive.
But it's so spread out. I don't know that it's something that you have to see because you camp out for an hour and a half, then they run
past
the fast
you. Guys
run past you. And it's like, well, that's it. Let's go home now. There's some other ones on here. The Tour de France.
Yeah, no thanks.
Kind of spread out. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, how would you see that? Just in your neighborhood?
I don't know. Maybe on the French countryside. A lot of people write Wrigley and Fenway, both of which completely deliver. I don't know about the troughs at Wrigley. Not my favorite form. By the way, did you guys see the Masters headline that a guy peed in the creek?
Yeah, and everyone saw it.
Nice.
I kind of like it. I'm not a major golfer, but I have played enough to know that people pee all over the course.
Well, I'm half surprised at the Masters where they tell you what words you can use on the broadcast that they don't have snipers ready to have hit him with a beat like a pellet gun to knock him down so he didn't take his you-know-what out and pee in Ray's Creek.
Somebody's got to rein in Happy Gilmore, man. He's getting out of control.
What is that guy's name? I did not know
he's
him.
new to me. He's a college player.
Oh, he's not even pro yet? Okay.
No.
His name is Jose Ballester. I saw the interview. He was like, yeah, I had to go. And then he's like, I didn't realize there was a restroom 50 yards to the left of the tee box. So... yeah, that was interesting. I got to admit, that was an unexpected turn because you're right. The Masters are so ridiculously uptight about everything.
I'm surprised the guy didn't drop out of the tree and tackle him.
That might be on my bucket list too.
To pee in Ray's Creek
during the tournament.
They're going to have people doing it today, right? I mean, this is a copycat league. Folks trying to go today.
Yeah, maybe it would help Rory get out of his own head. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Paul in California. Paul, what's on your bucket list?
Well, about 10 days ago, I was able to accomplish one. You guys were talking about European soccer. I was in Milan, Italy, and I got to see a derby between Inter Milan and AC Milan.
Wow. San Siro.
It was 70,000 fans. There was about 10,000 for Inter because it was a home game for AC Milan. It was the semifinal Coppa Italia. And I've never been to a game, and that was like my bucket list for growing up as an AC Milan fan.
How did you follow along with the songs and the people getting emotional? Did you feel out of place, or did you get into it?
No, because I grew up my dad was an Italian, came over here when he was 17, so he always spoke Italian to me, and so we used to follow Serie A with the Gazzetta of Italia, that's the newspaper. We would get it once a month, and so I kind of knew the words. I speak Italian. I actually have my daughters that are playing soccer in Rome right now.
Wow! All right, give us a bar or two. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it was like I can't even say the exact words. It doesn't come to me, but I'm just saying it was just like totally emotional. And it was like when Malone scored the goal, so they were winning 1-0 for a second. There was definitely some tears in my eyes.
Wait, Paul, come on. I think you have to prove that you know Italian here. You just said you grew up speaking Italian. I got to hear some of the song.
Okay. Let me see. I could say something in Italian, but I mean, the lyrics of the song, I don't know exactly how they
all right, fine.
went.
Just say something in Italian.
Le mie figliole giocano calcio in Italia.
Love it. Thank you, Paul.
You love it. You don't even know what he said.
I know. I hope it wasn't something that's going to get us canceled.
This guy Perloff's an idiot.
Yeah, bring Maggie solo is better. He might have just said.
Whatever. We survived the sell your mama for Wembanyama. We can survive Paul's Italian rant that we don't understand. I went to a game in Argentina. A guy scored. It was, I think we should see River Plate versus San Marcos.
River Plate.
Yeah, whatever. I knew I was pronouncing that wrong. A guy scored. A father and son were weeping in each other's arms. It was about 8 minutes into the game. It ended up being like a 4-3 game. I'm like, what is going on here? Then at the end of the game, 50 soldiers with machine guns are lining both sides of the field. I am not exaggerating at all.
John Morant was there as well. You should go and check out a River Plate against Boca Juniors.
Yeah.
That's the national rivalry of Argentina. That would be a bonkers.
Yeah, at the Bombadero is the name of the...
Oh, there you go, Pearl.
Yeah, no, I was really into it. So that's where... Somebody famous came up. It was Maradona. No, yeah, Maradona played at the Bombadero when he was like 13. It's the same, but they weren't playing there. I would have gone, Manny.
Yeah. Bombadera is definitely it is definitely also one of the stadiums in Argentina that I would love to visit.
Yeah, that's why I want to go. That's why I have the World Cup #1. But keep them coming. Give us your bucket list sporting event. Is it the Masters or you got something else? 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. All right, Gordon Damer, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is the bucket list event that you have for sporting events?
I would think, just off the top of my head, I like the Masters. That's a really strong one.
Have you been?
I have never been. It's a very difficult ticket to get, and I also like the fact they take everybody's phones away.
You like that?
I like that because while it would be difficult to detox myself, I enjoy other people's pain. And I think there are more people in that crowd, more important people in that crowd, that would certainly suffer from not being able to check their phones. And nowadays, you go to a Yankee game, it seems like more people are there to take an Instagram photo than they are to really watch the game. So I like that aspect.
That's old school. That's a great point. Would you consider, in the right circumstances, peeing in one of the creeks at the Masters?
I didn't bring it up here. I was going to bring it up later. To me, that's more impressive. No, the audience knowing that you are going in there, the performance anxiety that I would have in that environment.
In front of hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right. To me, that's a more impressive feat than Justin Rose.
Well, these Rose isn't going to keep the lead.
Yeah, but to be able to do
that. But wait. He was in front of everybody. Couldn't he turn his back to them?
Well, I'm sure, but everyone knew.
Is there
why,
video of this?
Like nobody thought he was going.
Phones.
Yeah, there's no phones.
Oh,
and I didn't think that the broadcast was going to highlight that point. Of watching him go. And I think everybody knows he's not going in there for a lost ball.
Yeah,
I think he said he didn't realize he could be seen until people started clapping for him.
That's amazing. Have you ever heard stories about Tiger passing gas on the golf course?
I have not.
David Faraday tells stories. Apparently, that's a thing. And there's video of him sort of just, I don't know if he walks up the guy, stands next to him and does it, but apparently, according to David Faraday, longtime golf broadcaster, that was well known around the golf course. I mean, listen, you're walking around all day. There's a lot of things that are going to happen, right?
So it is a long day.
It's a long day.
Right. In 5 hours, you have to, at some point.
Yeah, you have to go to the bathroom. I know they have porta potties on the course. I've been to a few majors. I've been to the U.S. Open twice. I was partying the whole time in the big tent. But I don't know about the Masters. The Masters does look great. You don't get a great view in a golf audience all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to see exactly what's happening. Do you guys have the same experience?
Yeah. You can either, find somebody that you want to follow and follow them around all day, or just kind of station yourself at one spot, and then you get everybody
going past you.
Yeah.
Right, but it's really hard to get on the 18th at a big tournament.
Impossible.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is they hit the ball so darn far, you can't even see where it lands. It's incredible. I think people don't understand how good these golfers are. I mean, they might, but TV doesn't do it justice.
I would think if you're at a golf event, you have to be a big enough golf fan to understand that, but maybe you're right.
All right, Gordon, what do you got? Updates.
I enjoy other people's pain. I do. I'm going to be honest. Well, Justin Rose, no pain for him yesterday. 7 under 65, takes a 3-shot lead into the second round of the Masters. He opened with 3 straight birdies. Only problem for him, a bogey on 18. He drove it into the trees, punched out, barely missed a 20-footer for par.
The only blemish on 18, but there's no point dwelling on that. I think it was a really good day's golf on a golf course that was a stern test. I think if you look at the overall leaderboard, not many low scores out there, so you had to hit a lot of quality shots and delighted with the way I played.
Yeah, the projected cut is looking like 3 over. Safe to say Nick Dunlap not going to make it. He put up an 18 over 90 yesterday.
Oh, is that bad?
He could get hot today. Don't count out Nick.
Do you have a sprinkle on him?
No, I didn't.
3 centavos.
Our coworker Gio was giving me the whole bio of Nick Dunlap. Apparently, he's not a bad golfer, like he was promising. People thought he might even make a show here.
I think if you have any money on him, 1-800-GAMBLER calls you today just to make sure that
you. Dang,
Gordon. Whoa,
does a wellness check.
Yes, just to make sure you're all right.
Hey, Perloff, we saw you put 4 cents down for Nick Dunlap. Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, he started with the bogey, went downhill from there. Good news for him though, it's not the worst round ever in the history of the Masters. That belongs to a guy by the name of Charlie Kunkel, who put up a 95 back in 1956.
I'm sure he's great. I'm sure he's very happy we're remembering him today.
I don't know that he's around long. If you're golfing in 1956, I'm not sure. I'll check on that. Defending champ Scotty Scheffler and Corey Connors, their 3-back. Bryson DeChambeau, he's in the group at 4 off the lead. Only twice in the last 25 years has the eventual champion come back from a deficit of more than 5 shots after one day. Tiger Woods and his gas in 2005 and Sergio Garcia in 2017. He was 6 off.
Let's just let that go, by the way.
Kind of like Tiger.
Pun intended.
There you go. Grizzlies and Timberwolves faced off last night. Big winner there, though, was the Golden State Warriors. T-Wolves got 44 from Anthony Edwards. They beat the Grizz 141-125. That win puts Golden State back into the 6th playoff spot in the West and back in control of their destiny to avoid the play-in tournament. The other big winner last night, Charles Barkley.
I hit my parlay. Yes, you did. We were going to bring that up at the end of the segment. There was no way. There you go. I'd stop the streak, y'all. He was 0-21. But tonight, he connects with Ant-Man, Ja, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Julius Randle. Anything is possible.
Yeah, his
I got this bracelet from a guy in the steam room.
His parlay was a plus 560, so $5 would get you 20. I don't know how far down he was on the 0 for 21.
Was this a combo of players and teams?
Just players.
Okay.
Player props, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Player props, okay.
I can give you Anthony Edwards, John Morant, both 25 points or more. Jaren Jackson, 20 more. And Julius Randle, 15 points or more.
He's unbelievable. National treasure.
Yes. 1-800-GAMBLER definitely calling him.
Yeah, more than once.
He's definitely not picking up.
You know, Ernie, I'm not going to lie. I was paying attention to the Bryant score, so get at the Clark or Kenneth, please.
First round playoff preview. Pistons, big fourth quarter, beat the Knicks 115-106. Kate Cunningham, 36 points. Knicks were without OG Anunoby and Josh Hart. Jalen Brunson left the game shortly after rolling his ankle.
A small detail.
He got hurt again?
Well, he came back.
Okay.
But he did miss 10 of the 15 shots he took. It was held to 15 points in the game.
Gordon, you haven't been briefed on how we do Knicks scores around here.
I have not.
Bogusch, you have to get maximum pain out of Manny and EJ and bring it up exactly the right time. You can't just lump it in with other scores. You have to highlight it and accentuate it to sort of pour lemon on the wound with those guys.
And it's more like the Knicks lost in Detroit in a possible playoff preview.
Likely.
Cut up by Cade Cunningham. You don't really sell the Knicks coming up short. Not that the Pistons, you can't give the Pistons credit for anything.
Wouldn't be the first time Detroit goes all in to end the regular season and completely craps the bed in the playoffs.
Because, and actually, the more you highlight it, the angrier they get, and they say things like that. Yes, it's great.
I've already established I enjoy other people's pain. So,
this
will be duly noted for the next hour. I enjoy other people's pain.
One other secret is that those two guys are wearing their post-Nick loss clothes. And the Knicks won last night. They would have had Knicks things on this morning.
They would have looked like Spike Lee over there if they had won. Actually, first thing that when I come in almost every morning after a Knicks game, me and Bogusch make a game plan of how are we going to get to EJ and Manny with this one. And if the Knicks are playing well, then we just forget it ever happened.
All right. Under 2 weeks
So
to
they
go
won 50
until
games this year, so you haven't done it that often.
Wow.
Under 2 weeks to go until the NFL draft. In case the
They've
Steelers,
been stuck on 50, by the way, for a week.
It has been a little bit of a rough
Let Gordon
close.
go. Keep going, Gordon.
Steelers don't want to wait around for Aaron Rodgers. They met with Shedeur Sanders yesterday. Steelers are the 21st pick in the first round. Giants have the third pick. They met with Penn State pass rusher Abdul Carter. Now, as for the stress fracture in his foot, his agent Drew Rosenhaus said that the injury has showed continued improvement, will not require surgery, and, quote, it should not be a factor for teams at this point.
Oh, well, if Drew Rosenhaus says it,
settled.
Well, there we go. I mean, Dr. Drew Rosenhaus says one of his clients is doing great. Well, there you go. Send in the pick.
Pick him first.
Yeah, we got it. Actually, Bogues and I were talking about this before. Do you believe this report? And I don't think you can make anything out of Drew Rosenhaus saying this because he's got two injuries, a shoulder and a foot. We're talking about the number 3 overall pick. That's a little bit of a risk.
I guess. Did they mention the shoulder yesterday, or are we just glossing over that now?
I mean, we saw him with one shoulder dominate a game, so I don't even think he needs both shoulders. It's the foot that seems like more of a long-term concern.
It's almost with them, it's almost like if they're talking about a foot, I assume the shoulder's bad. They're talking about the shoulder, I assume the foot is bad. Let's go back and forth. Which one? Oh, you have a good foot thing today? Okay, the shoulder's probably messed up.
Yeah. They took the shoulder out. His arm is just latched to his side right now, but he'll be fine.
I mean, and also, too, there's so much history with Drew Rosenhaus, has so many different controversial situations. It's hard, not that he's probably a trustworthy guy, but actually, no.
He's probably.
No.
Probably a trustworthy guy. If you're saying probably.
Any agent, you're not going to take, I've been reading a lot. According to the agents, there are now 144 people who are going to go in the first round of the NFL draft. So you cannot trust the agents around this time of year. All right, thank you, Gordon. I want to hear more of your bucket list sporting events. Give us a call, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. See you on the phone lines. We're going to get into that next. Have a couple more from the chat as well. That's next, Maggie Perloff Show.
I hit my parlay.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Living life in 20-second views. Scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daddy's keeping score. YouTube's his love. He's begging for more. Double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie, snappy, Perloff's got
1 minute remaining.
Daddy's hooked.
Yeah. Down in Music City, there's a man named Jay. He's tuned in to Maggie and Perloff every single
45
day.
seconds remaining.
Life's been a battle, he's been losing for years, but now his motto's clear. No more losing tears. He's been down, he's been low, but now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got questions, can't let it slide. Who's running the YouTube on the infinity side? Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight. But Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Been a loser so long, my losing's all gone. Tapped out my bad luck, it's time to move on. From his couch in Nashville, solving the case. Infinity's mystery, he's all over the place.
Good Lord, someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jay Dale's got a history. There's a party downtown near 5th Street. Everybody at the bar.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Of course, going to a Shabuzi concert was on my bucket list, and I did it at the Super Bowl. Played this song 3 times. It was awesome.
EJ didn't stay for that one? Well, that was Chris Stapleton that EJ bailed. You guys bailed on,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that actually was not EJ's fault. Chris
yeah.
Stapleton was an hour late, and EJ had to edit a bunch of video. I went all in on the concerts this year. That's why the Super Bowl week, to me, belongs on a bucket list. I think it's a great event. If you could do it, honestly, you don't even need to go to the game. The game is the most boring part of the Super Bowl week, unless your team is involved. And for most of you guys here, that will never happen.
Oh, thanks. I was surprised, though, the 2 Final Fours I went to, how many people leave after Saturday night.
Yeah,
like
if your
Sunday
team's
they get
out.
up and go.
Yeah, I was a little critical of the Final Four. I've been to a bunch. I just think when they put them in the football stadiums, it's really hard to see what's happening. The games feel very far away because the football stadiums are horizontal.
Yeah.
You go way back. So I've been to a few. I imagine this year would have been good because the games were close.
This year was fantastic.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Tyler in Vancouver. Tyler, what's on your sports bucket list?
Well, my bucket list, it would definitely be like a Champions League final or World Cup.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know, I live in Vancouver, and like, you know, the Canucks, you know, the crowd gets pretty wild in there, but like even the Whitecaps games are better than the crowd and the Canucks. So the soccer is pretty good. And another thing is, you know, you're talking about dome baseball. It's not very exciting at all.
Yeah.
No, I just want to see it. I just want to see what it's like.
It's not nothing different, right? Like, it's just baseball, and you know, it's kind of it's a fun sport to play, but it's kind of boring in the stadium. Just saying. And you know, like we used to sell out. BC Lions used to sell out the dome in the 90s, and like that was crazy. But have you guys ever been to the Buffalo Stadium? Have you ever seen a Buffalo Bills game?
I have, yeah. Outdoor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, and that, I don't know, my opinion, that was probably the best kind of experience I've ever had because that crowd is actually, they're crazy.
That's because you were hammered, Tyler. Thank you for the call. I appreciate that. No, Buffalo is a great crowd. It's not a great stadium. It's a very generic. I mean... I grew up Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, which was the Phillies and the Eagles, and it was just terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I actually would go up to Shea to see the Phillies play, and I'm like, this is heaven on earth. And Shea was considered a dump.
It was.
But at least it had grass.
Yeah.
The Vet, they played on concrete. Right. So back in the day, those big multi-use stadiums, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, were not great. So I don't think anybody had any of those on their bucket list. Then first time, I got to tell you, the best baseball stadium experience, first time I went to Fenway, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Wait, really, I low-key always wanted to go to Miami to go to Joe Robbie Stadium to catch a baseball game in that football field. I don't know. There's always something about that. And also maybe even watching a football game with the baseball diamond still in. I don't know. I thought that there was something cool about that when I was growing up.
I don't know. By the way, that's still it. Was it Oakland until last year was the last one to have a multi-use where you could actually see during a football game, see the infield? Yeah. That was something growing up as a kid that you saw all the time. By the way, EJ, have you been to a Hurricanes game
at Hard Rock?
No, not at the Hard Rock, at the Orange Bowl.
No, I would have been. I mean, I could have gone in theory, but no, I've been to Hard Rock. I haven't been to Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl was supposedly falling apart at a dump and almost scary to go to.
Yeah, so I when I was, again, working for ESPN in 2005, saw Miami play at the Orange Bowl. There's this elevator that the media has to go up to. Apparently, you have a high risk of getting stuck in that elevator. And also, the whole thing is made of metal, and it's a giant electricity conductor, so they're scared of lightning. And the thing shook like crazy in a good way. I think that was a big home field advantage. I think it was better. I think that's what you need for college. You need an element of not real danger, but some danger. You know, one other speaking, I was actually at the Virginia Tech game when Lee Corso's car got hit by lightning.
I don't know that story.
Yeah, it's not a well-known story. Actually, this is a long time ago. Lee Corso, because, you know, obviously you're in the fall in the South. There's a lot of storms. That I guess I expected you guys to know that story, and you did not. We'll move on to bucket list.
Tell it.
I want to hear the story.
No, it was just a storm, and so we had. I think the game was delayed, and there was lightning coming down. It was all over the stadium, and somehow I think it was actually, maybe I'm telling the story wrong. I think Lee Corso's. Why would Lee Corso have a car there though? Anyway, I have to look.
Game day? He's doing game day?
No. Okay, I'll get the more story of this, but I remember there was a lightning storm and it became a big deal. Lightning strikes Lee Corso's rental car moments after he left the game. Okay, there you go, Virginia Tech.
It happened 2000.
No,
Michael Vick era.
2000. Then maybe I wasn't there. God damn it, Maggie, we need you back.
This is some story.
That's the best story
you
ever.
guys don't know
Thank
about
you.
it, and apparently you don't know about it because you weren't there.
That's a long time ago. You can't prove anything. You can't prove anything.
Why wouldn't you wouldn't have been there in 2000?
No. I definitely was not doing that in 2000.
Manny, where were you in 2000?
Not contributing anything to society at all. Babbling, drooling all over myself.
I
was 3.
I worked at foxsports.com in 2000, my first major sports job. And then I worked at NFL from 2001 to 2004. And then I worked for ESPN doing college football as a freelance graphics guy. That's my career path. And apparently I did not see Lee Corso's car get hit by lightning. I swear to God I was there.
That would have been so cool. You couldn't have gone as a fan, maybe?
Nope. Virginia Tech. That was the first time I'd been in the stadium. I was on a Thursday night crew with Corso, Herb Street, and Mike Tirico and Fowler. It was legends of the game. It was really, really cool. Got to see a lot of stadiums. Apparently, I did not see lightning hit Lee Corso's car. That was the false memories? What do they call that when they implant memories? I've been thinking I was at that game for years. Are you sure it was 2000?
One of my favorite stories.
Yeah, I tell that story all the time. I did go to Kobe Bryant's high school. That's for sure. That is not.
Now I need to see a yearbook.
I've tweeted the picture. My brother was on the team with Kobe. I was not. That is true. Kobe Bryant, Lower Merion. Come on, guys. You can't. This is the lore of Perloff. You can't It's one of my top 10 sports stories.
Yeah, I mean, just you can keep the Lee Corso story.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep it.
So
Who
I was
cares?
there. The lightning
You were
was
there.
coming down. And Lee, he couldn't really see because he had a giant dog head on because he was picking games. All right. Coming up, let's talk to someone who really knows what he's talking about. NFL draft expert Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports, will join us next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogusch in for Maggie, who's on her final day of vacation in parts unknown, at least parts unknown to most of the staff here. I know
where she is now.
All right.
I know.
Where is she, Manny?
She's herding sheep in the border of Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan.
Not exactly, but you're close.
Sheep right, location wrong.
We're talking about bucket list sporting events today. A lot of people, I think, have the Masters on their bucket list going down to Augusta. It looks incredible. I like watching on the couch as well. I can't wait to park there this weekend and watch a lot of golf. But I tell you, Bogues, we're getting very, very close to the NFL draft. And you know those rare occasions where I actually sound like I know what I'm talking about the NFL draft?
Yeah.
Let me tell you where I got that from.
Okay.
I got that from Ryan Wilson's podcast with the first pick on CBS Sports. Of course, he's on CBS Sports HQ, NFL draft analyst. Ryan, welcome aboard. There's a couple things we have to talk to you before the draft. First, I want to hear, what is your bucket list sporting event?
Maddie mentioned it to me, and you know what? I am at my point in the journey of someone who covers sports that I, like you, Perloff, just like sitting on the couch. I don't even have to watch the Masters. I just want to sit on the couch, stare at the wall, let my kids be quiet for 20 minutes, and then that would be my Masters. That would be my bucket list sporting event. It's weird because I was actually racking my brain. Like I enjoy watching Premier League soccer. I haven't had time this spring just because of work. Only because I don't know any of the storylines. I just like watching soccer. I can sit there. It's 90 minutes. You're in and out. I would maybe appreciate going to maybe a game in England, whether it be Chelsea or Arsenal or whomever. Like I'm not married to that, but that might be it. But that's probably the worst answer you're going to get today, yesterday, or going forward.
You know, one thing you do, Ryan, you've done a lot this spring, going to pro days. Now, I know that's not on anyone's bucket list, but I'll bet you a lot of fans would love to do that. Are they I've been to a couple. And I always laugh at the hand timing of the 40 by like a 73-year-old scout who's like, did he start running yet? But do you think fans would love to do that? Is that something, the NFL could probably monetize this? Are pro days fun?
I do know, in fact, that fans love doing it because one of my coworkers who is not on the sports side, but on the marketing side, lives in Boulder, and she came to the pro day as a credentialed member of CBS, and she had an absolute blast because if you've never seen it before, it's sort of a souped up field day where you see guys running around in shorts and t-shirts, but they're moving at speeds with which you're not familiar. And you could absolutely monetize it because we've monetized not only first night or whatever they call it now, Super Bowl night, where literally you're just watching your favorite players walk across the stage and answer a few questions. We monetized the combine in Indianapolis where fans are allowed to watch that. And, the NFL is forever looking for ways to make more money. The expansion to the moon soon, I would imagine. So this would absolutely be a thing. The difference, of course, is that this is run by the colleges. So there's going to have to be some conversation with the league. I would imagine those bridges could be crossed.
Well, let's try. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I just a pro day follow up. What are the rules for like the bottom third guys who are working out on pro day who don't necessarily have pro hope? Like, are you required to still stand there and time them and pay attention, or can you walk away when Shador's done?
Yeah, I think out of just pro day courtesy, you do it. I have been to some pro days where I've seen guys and thought to myself, yeah, no offense, young man, but you will probably be working as an intern at CBS in a couple of weeks. You will not be pursuing your future as an NFL player. But yeah, it does happen. And, as you have kids, you sort of pull for these guys as your kids get older. But I take your point Bogusch, and it's a weird journey. I'll be honest with you, but it's a fun thing to do as well when you see guys like Travis Hunter, for example, in person. After watching him do the things he did on television, and he somehow moves differently in person than he does when you watch him in the fall.
Ryan, let's start there with the Colorado Pro Day. I saw obviously the video of Shedeur Sanders throwing. Did your opinion of Shedeur Sanders as a prospect change after the Colorado Pro Day?
No, he was who I thought he was, and who I thought he is a really good college football player. He's incredibly tough, and he does a lot of the things just under the level physically of what we saw from Cam Ward. He doesn't have quite as big an arm. He's a little smaller, a little slighter of frame, not nearly as good an athlete, but athletic enough. He does a lot of things really well, and I liken it in terms of the physicality, not in terms of the playmaking ability, but what we saw from Joe Burrow moving from Ohio State to LSU. And Joe Burrow coming out, the issue was, are his arms big enough? We saw Joe Burrow send that tweet years ago about, my hand size was 9. I can't play in the NFL now. And I think that physically is what we're talking about with Shedeur. But in the right system, I think Shedeur can be absolutely successful. The problem is, and this is the problem with all these guys, I mean, except for maybe Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, if you don't land in the right system, you're going to flop. And I think I would be encouraged, and Sanders might feel differently because he may not be a top 5 pick, but I would be encouraged about the prospect of going somewhere like Pittsburgh should he slip to 21 or they trade up for him at some point. Because if you go into Cleveland, that could be a situation with which we're all quite familiar where 2 or 3 years from now, they're looking for another quarterback.
Well, I guess, following up on that, we were talking earlier this morning about Louis Riddick putting it out there that it makes, it sounds good to him for Shedeur to drop out of that first 3. Is that possibly Deion spinning a natural fall for Shedeur to make it look like that's actually the better thing for his son? Yeah, no, it could be. And that wouldn't be the first time a family member or an agent has taken those steps for their son or their client. And because Cam Ward's going number 1, and then number 2, the Cleveland Browns were in full force from ownership on down in Boulder last week, and they were there. You got the impression to see Travis, and I think it's probably down to Travis or Abdul Carter for them at 2. And then number 3, the question becomes, does Brian Daboll, job security in the line, want to take a young quarterback when they can manage with Russ and Jameis and going into next season, and maybe they take whoever's left between Travis and Abdul, and that's when the fall starts to happen. So that could certainly be Deion having those conversations publicly and privately. I think that Shedeur and Coach Prime understand what the draft board could very possibly look like. Number 9 at New Orleans makes some sense too with Kellen Moore. I think a guy who's had a lot of success with quarterbacks, young and old. But the reality is it could be like a Will Levis situation or an Aaron Rodgers situation where after the first quarterback goes, it's going to be a while until Shedeur hears his name called.
We're talking to Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports HQ, with the First Pick podcast with our buddy Rick Spielman. Is a great podcast, and other guests too that I love all you guys. Ryan, so if Shedeur falls past 9 with New Orleans, people are speculating that someone, either Pittsburgh might have to trade up a little bit to get him. Do you expect any trades, maybe even into the bottom half of the first round for, say, a Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe? Do you expect trades happening somewhere in the first round to get these quarterbacks under the 5-year deals?
I think that's less of a thing now than it used to be, because that always used to be the thing. You mentioned Rick Spielman. He talks about that with Teddy Bridgewater in 2014. They traded back up into the back half of that draft to get the 5-year deal on Teddy, and I'm looking at the top of the second round. I think it's more likely that these teams trade up because they get a little nervous. The Browns pick at 33, and it could be a situation where the Browns take Travis Hunter at 2 and then trade up until the middle of the first round and get Shedeur as well, which would be a fun story. The Giants are at 34. Tennessee at 35, but I would imagine we can all agree that they're going to take a quarterback. 37, Las Vegas Raiders, and then the Saints are at 40. So those are all teams that have an opportunity to move back up 10 to 15 to 20 spots if they so choose to get a quarterback. And I think it'd be more out of concern that quarterback wouldn't be there than the 5th-year option. But that said, Perloff, to get to your maybe larger point, I think there's a real opportunity for 3 quarterbacks to go as well. My concern, and I like Jackson Dart, he's my QB3, my concern with him, especially if you're in that range where the Steelers are picking, is that you don't want to put yourself in a Kenny Pickett situation where in 2022 he was the only quarterback going round 1, and a lot of folks, myself included, thought maybe he was overdrafted, and then you miss out on the quarterback the next year because you're trying to convince yourself that this was the right guy. And we always have these talks too in the media. Next year's draft class is going to be fantastic at the quarterback position. We'll see. But it certainly feels like it'll be deeper than what we're currently looking at right now.
What about, Ryan, the I think Jason Light said this yesterday, that he doesn't foresee a lot of trades at all in this draft because at some point players we level out, and a second-round pick, you can get that guy in the fourth round and vice versa. Do you think teams are going to kind of stay where they are because they're going to have that many options in their natural spots?
That actually is a pretty interesting point, and I think this class is deep. Defensive line and edge rush and running back and tight end. And those aren't necessarily positions you need to trade up or down for because, again, the class is – there's so many players in those positions. You can find them at pick 40 and you can find one at pick 65, for example. So that does make some sense, especially the things you primarily trade up for are quarterbacks and sometimes offensive linemen, and maybe move up or down for those guys later in the draft as well if you have a guy that you love more than perhaps another team. But I think there could be a situation, since we know number one is going to be set. I think the Browns are going to come off that pick. I can't imagine. No one's going to trade up to number 2 to get a quarterback. That also would be a stretch as we sit here. So I think there's an opportunity for a lot of these teams to stay where they are. Because after the first 15 picks or so, a lot of these guys are going to grade out the same depending on the teams making the selection. So from pick 15 to 40, a lot of these teams could have similar grades on these players, in which case it might not make sense to move up 10 spots, for example, unless you're going after one of those quarterbacks we talked about.
Talking to Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports draft expert. Maggie's not here today, Ryan, but one thing she's been curious about this whole spring, Ashton Genty's height. Is it an issue? I'm not sure exactly, 5'8", 5'8.5". There haven't been a lot of running backs at that size who've had success. I've seen a lot of Maurice Jones-Drew comps, but he could go very high. Any concerns? Is Ashton Genty big enough to be the star we all expect him to be in the NFL?
I'm glad you asked that question, Perloff, because Ashton Genty's 5'8", and I asked him that exact question at the Combine. He's a great kid. Like, he could not have been nicer. But he looked at me and he said, you are literally the first person to ask me about my height. No team in any interview has asked me whether I'm tall enough to play running back. I said, all right, duly noted. I will not bring that up again. But those are the concerns that we all had, right? Because I wasn't sure he was going to be 5'8", because my coworker, Amanda Garrett, who does sideline, worked with him last year a few games, and she's 5'4", and she said he's only a few inches taller than me. So it could have been anywhere from 5'5.5" to 5'8". So he's 5'8". You talked about the historical concerns with guys of that height, but he just feels special. Now, I just said that this running back class is incredibly deep, and if you're going to take him at 6, if you're Vegas, does that make the most sense in terms of bang for buck? I think in that situation it does, because you have Geno Smith, because you have Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll, and you have Brock Bowers. I think I like Genty as a fit there better than Tedero McMillan, the wide receiver at University of Arizona. But we'll find out as we go through this. But any concerns about him not catching the ball in 2024? If you go back to 2023, Ashton Genty was one of their primary receivers coming out of the backfield, so he can do that too.
How many running backs are we getting in round 1?
I think we're going to get 2. It'll be Ashton and then Amari Hampton, who's a special player out of UNC. And then I think we'll have a run in round 2 as well. But I think right now 2. If more than 2 go, I will be floored.
Travion Henderson sneak in? Any chance?
I don't think so. I think he's more in the J.K. Dobbins conversation in terms of draft range, and in which case that'll be round 2, and all those guys went back. I think it was a 2020 draft now. All those guys went to the top of round 2. I think that's where we see him. But he's a great player, ran to the 4.4s, track guy, can block, can catch, can do everything you want.
Is this the beginning of a correction of running back value, or just because these guys in this draft, they have more value?
I think it's a situation, Bogusch, where we're figuring out that, we can use these guys more than typically how we use Derrick Henry, in just terms of between the tackles, bruiser who can get you anywhere from 3 to 50 yards, it feels like. The Christian McCaffreys of the world feel like that feels like the body type of the running backs coming out now, much more so. It's much harder to find a guy who's 6 feet, 230 who plays running back as opposed to 5'11", between 195 and 215. And those guys have all come up through high school and college, being able to catch the football. Not very many of them block well, but that's not why you're drafting them so high. But when you get body types like Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs and now Ashton Genty, who can do the things these guys do, it would be foolish to say, well, running backs don't matter, so I'll just wait. I think Ben Johnson and Jared Goff would have appreciated certainly having Jahmyr Gibbs there as opposed to not having him there.
Sorry to Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports. Any of the non-first-round quarterbacks that you really like? We're hearing a lot of hype about Will Howard. I love Dylan Gabriel in college. Riley Leonard's had some success. Who's the guy who's not even considered a first-rounder that you're excited about?
Well, I'm up here a little bit down the road from where Maggie grew up, but I'm in Syracuse, so I've been riding the Kyle McCord train for months now.
Really?
And, Yeah, talked to him a couple times at the Shrine Bowl, and then again at the Combine. And he's number one. He's a great kid. Went to the same high school as Marvin Harrison Jr. So they've been together for a while. But I thought the progress he made from 2023 at Ohio State when they essentially ran him out of town because he didn't play great. He played okay. He wasn't great. And then setting the ACC passing record last year in Syracuse, where Coach Fran Brown allowed him just to be himself. I think he made some of the biggest strides of any player in college football coming out to the NFL, I thought. And he said, I was sort of tight at Ohio State. There's a lot of pressure there. And when I was allowed to just be myself, things changed. Teams like him a lot. There's going to be a varying difference of opinion. I like him a late day 2. He maybe goes on day 3, but he's a guy who can run an NFL offense. He throws with anticipation, maybe better than anyone. His arm's better than you think it is. I saw his pro day at Syracuse, and I saw Will Howard at Ohio State. Will did a great job, but when you look at the numbers going back to Kansas State and Ohio State for both those guys, Kyle McCord, year after year, put up better numbers. So it's certainly more than that. Will Howard looks apart because he's 6'4", 236, but I like Jackson. I like Kyle McCord a little better than Will Howard. I think both those guys probably go late day 2, more likely early day 3.
Yeah, I saw Kyle McCord visit with Pittsburgh. You think that's their possible? Say they sign Aaron Rodgers. How about getting Kyle McCord later?
Yeah, and I think it makes more sense in that you're not using a first-round pick on a guy that you maybe don't love in Shedeur or Jackson Dart, if that's a conversation. You can get defensive line help, which is incredibly important to what they need to do. You don't have the second-round pick because of DK Metcalf. So if you can get Kyle McCord in the 4th round, that feels like stealing. Now, we say that every year around this time about these quarterbacks, and they end up being on the practice squad. But right now, as I sit here, I love that possibility better than trying to get a defensive lineman in round 4, for example, after taking a quarterback in round 1.
Ryan, do we know anything about Abdul Carter's foot from yesterday that Drew Rosenhaus didn't tell us?
I don't, and Abdul Carter didn't know about the foot injury at the Combine when we spoke to him. That's how little it was affecting him. But again, these are things that you have to take into consideration. It's a Jones fracture, not a List, Frank, I believe. Again, I'm not a doctor, but when you talk to people in the league, they're way less concerned about that than what would have been a List Frank concern. So, Drew Rosenhaus is doing his job, but Abdul Carter has a chance to be truly special. And if you're okay medically with Abdul Carter, I think you take him number 2 or number 3.
All right, Ryan, here's what we really want to talk to you about. You are wearing clear glasses on Zoom. You can see it at Infinity Sports Radio Network on YouTube. We had a big discussion because Jason Kidd, we were watching the Luka return to Dallas. He rocks the clear glasses. You both look good, I think. What is your take on why you're going with the clear glasses as compared to, I have sort of a smoky gray frame?
Yeah, it's funny, Perloff. I actually have more like your frames when I'm out and about for work. I've had these probably since 2019, and I thought they looked good as an old man hipster doofus type guy. Yeah. My dad told me, he's an old military guy. He said, those glasses look so stupid on television. Please do not ever wear them again. So I only wear them like around the house and in the morning if I don't have to leave the house. I like the way they look, and I appreciate you appreciating them on me, but most people older than us are not big fans of these clear glasses.
But you know who wears them? And it looks amazing in them, but they're thicker than yours. Travis Hunter wears clear glasses, and he looks like a superstar. And I don't think you or I can really rock the Travis Hunter look.
But if Ryan had these in 2019, you're ahead of the trend. Like, you started this.
Yeah, and my dad, the blow to my self-esteem limited my ability to wear them outside. So, yeah. We all can't be Travis Hunter, I think, it's a lesson.
Right, who listens to their dad for fashion advice? But I'll bet you your dad is cool, though.
He's an old military guy, so you're going to hear him whether you want to or not because he's loud.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that sticks in my ear even as someone who is halfway to 100 tries to figure out what he should wear every day.
Ryan Wilson with the First Pick Pod, CBS Sports HQ. Ryan, love talking to you. I know you're super busy the next 2 weeks. Have fun. And I say keep rocking those glasses on TV, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ryan.
I think he looks good. He does. Yeah. So you have more of a black frame here.
I have 2 frames. I have a black one and like a lighter blue kind of setup, depending on. I try to match sometimes, if I remember.
EJ, you always gone with black frames?
I've done a brown before, and these are actually dark blue, I think, technically.
Oh, okay.
They're very dark navy blue, I believe.
Yeah. Would you ever consider the clear look?
No.
Yeah. It's hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Look at Travis Hunter's glasses. He is very comfortable in them.
But my wife was very complimentary of me, saying that I'm already bland and pale enough that I don't need the clear frames. It was very sweet of her.
Yeah, I appreciate Ryan. What did he say? Older hipster doofus.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. That's what I would ascribe to be one of those. All right. We see you on the phone lines. We're talking about bucket list sporting events. Is the Masters the place you want to go? Do you got something better? Want to hear from you? 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. What's the one sporting event that you haven't been to that you need to go to? That's next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. We're talking about bucket list sporting events. See you on the phone lines. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's a Friday. We have some breaking NFL news. EJ Stewart, lay it on us.
All right. According to Adam Schefter, the Cleveland Browns and veteran QB Joe Flacco reached an agreement on a 1-year, $4 million worth up to $13 million with incentives. Flacco will return to Cleveland, where he won the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award in 2023 and very much angered Maggie Gray. That was not in Schefter's tweet, but I just added that because he was very upset about that.
As a side note, DeMar Hamlin being a 2-time loser of Comeback Player of the Year is a remarkable feat, in air quotes.
Well,
Flacco?
I mean, I think that's true, but I think DeMar Hamlin's also happy to be alive.
Yes.
He has that.
He does have that. And he's actually been a very impactful player. He's in on like every play.
That's why he was nominated again this year, because that first year he didn't really play that much. It was just the fact that he was on the sideline.
Now he's all over the field.
Right.
Yeah, he played pretty well last year. But Flacco returns to Cleveland, a team that already has Kenny Pickett as well.
So I
would
was
say that confidently.
Flacco.
That's why they signed Joe Flacco.
Flacco played 5 regular season games there in 2023. Then he lost the playoff game to the Texans. He averaged 323 yards per game in Kevin Stefanski's offense. Threw a lot of picks.
Yeah,
and there were a lot of drop
pick
picks
sixes,
too.
right, in that playoff game?
Well, the playoff game, but even during the regular season, he threw 13 touchdowns and 8 picks. So he doesn't have a great passer rating, but his yards per game was awesome. I said this, and I believe, EJ, you guys always fact check me, so I hope I'm right. I was all about bringing Flacco back to Cleveland
That is true.
this offseason. This gives them some breathing room on quarterback. So it looks like, to me, it's not because Flacco's there, but they're going to go Travis Hunter at number 2. There were a lot of rumors they were going to trade back into the first round, maybe to get Shedeur Sanders. I think with Flacco and Kenny Pickett, where you are as a team, you don't have to do that. Deshaun Watson wants to come back, but that's a different story altogether. That's not this year. He's still recovering from an Achilles. I think, Bogusch, you could survive with Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett this year if you're Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, this guarantees that they are not taking Shedeur at number 2. So now this is just about who is it Travis or is it Abdul Carter?
I would think Travis because they just paid Myles Garrett a ton of money. Do you want to invest more?
Well, and Ryan just told us too that it felt like in Boulder that the Browns were there to see Travis, not Shedeur. But this means that they're not taking Shedeur at number 2. If things change later in the first round, maybe he does still end up there. But that means that second pick is not him. This is much like what the Giants are doing with Russ and with Jameis. It puts them in position to make the pick of the guy that they want the most, that they don't have to take a quarterback.
Yeah, it's interesting. Can they win with Joe Flacco? And they got to the playoffs 23. I think with Stefanski calling plays and Myles Garrett still there, that's a huge part of this. Cleveland can actually be a surprise team. I don't think we're talking contender or anywhere close to it, but there is some talent in the building. David Njoku really came into his own last year or so. We'll see. They if they get Travis Hunter, I think you have to play him a lot at receiver there.
At all times.
Maybe at all times, but they have some defensive players. I think he's more important at receiver there, especially with Joe Flacco throwing to him. I want to hear your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns, what they're going to do. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Also, what is the bucket list sporting event that you really, really need to go to before you die? A lot of people have that as the Masters. We went around the room. I went World Cup final. Bogusch, you went with the...
I settled on Notre Dame football.
Notre Dame football. Manny, World Cup final. EJ, what'd you go with?
Rose Bowl.
Okay. Nobody did WrestleMania, by the way. I don't know.
Not a sport. I'm sorry. Wrong question.
Oh, get out of here.
What was that, Bogusch? One more time?
Not a sport.
All right. Let's go to the phone lines. All right, Adrian. What is your bucket list sporting event?
Hey, Mr. Perloff, my bucket list is the Final Four. I had a chance. I had Masters tickets in 2022 for the practice round on Monday, and my team is Carolina Tar Heels, and they were in the final game against Kansas. So it was crazy. I had to make a choice. I already bought the Masters tickets, so I was actually trying to just go to the Masters, the practice round earlier in the day, then fly down to New Orleans and see Carolina, but I just couldn't do it, and it was just too much of a hectic and flights and things like that. But that's my bucket list. I heard Final Four is awesome. The Super Bowl is something, but I think that's better at home to watch and do things with friends and family and stuff like that. What do you guys think?
Wait, Adrian, so you didn't go to the Masters or the Final Four on that Monday?
No, I went to the Masters. I went to the Masters because I already had my tickets, and those tickets are it's like a lottery to get those tickets. So I had to go to the Masters.
Yeah.
I killed one bird. So I'm looking to go to Final Four hopefully next year or the year after.
Well, it worked out because your team didn't win that night, and I don't know if your team's going to be there next year.
But they should be back soonish. You know, you're not rooting for George Mason.
They got a great recruiting class coming in, and they were up 15 in that game, and they basically weren't even supposed to be in that position after beating Duke and then playing Kansas in the championship game.
All right, thanks, Adrian. I like that one. Let's go to Jeff in Tucson. What is your bucket list sporting event?
So my bucket list sporting event would probably be the NCAA championship game football. I haven't been to that. I've been to the semifinal game when Ohio State was here in Phoenix, lost to Clemson. So I've been to that. That was kind of fun. I want to chime in. You know, I'm big Ohio everything, right?
Right.
So I do like the Flacco thing. I think they're going to take Travis Hunter, and I think I was listening to the guy from HQ, and I watched Kyle McCord when he was at OSU, and how they kind of ran him out of town.
Yeah.
And I do like him, and I do like Will Howard, too. I think Will Howard will be more than a backup because of his size, and I think if he gets the right fit, he'll actually do well in the NFL. But I do like Kyle McCord, and I really hope the Browns decide to take a quarterback. My last thing I wanted to ask, and I can't remember, is when is Watson's last paycheck?
Oh, God. I don't know. Because they restructured his deal. Thank you, Jeff. I don't know. By the way, Will Howard, did you guys see that Will Howard's getting Josh Allen player comps? Because he is huge. And I guess he looked really good in his workouts. He had some success at Ohio State. I find the latter round guys kind of interesting. I find Will Howard is a potential decent third-round pick.
Deshaun Watson, by the way, signed technically through 2029, but 2026 is the last real year of that deal.
Got it.
So 2 years left of him theoretically being on the Browns payroll.
There was a storyline yesterday that he is talking about coming back better than ever.
Of course. Prove the doubters wrong.
We might get into that later, but that feels unlikely to me. All right, let's go to Dave in Queens. What is your bucket list sporting event?
Guys, good morning. Thanks. The thing and only thing that came to my mind would be if I hope Pete Rose gets in the Hall of Fame. If he gets in, I would go to that. I would get a hotel. I would do whatever I have to do to get on that presentation to see, because as a kid I went to the Hall of Fame in '82, and it would put a cherry on top in my life that the guy that I always wanted in the Hall of Fame and liked as a player would make it, and it would be like I would do respect for his family, because I've met some of his family, his daughter, Fawn and everything, at a Cincinnati this past summer for him getting. He was in the he was after he passed away. I mean, not this summer, in the fall, they had a memorial in Cincinnati. I met his daughter and everything, and we said, keep up the fight. So if he gets in, because the family wants that, and of his honor, I would go to that. That would be my first Hall of Fame, induction ceremony. It would be a bucket list thing for me, but it would only be if Pete gets in,
Awesome, Dave. Yeah, that is a good one. Thank you. I appreciate it. A Hall of Fame induction as a bucket list, if it's one of your favorite players, that sounds really cool.
Well, I would say I've been to Cooperstown for induction weekend, and it is remarkable.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's a great trip, period, if you love baseball, but Hall of Fame weekend when literally Main Street, there's just Hall of Famers and other baseball legends just walking around, signing autographs. It is mind-blowing how fun it is.
Sounds like sports heaven. Who'd you see inducted?
I went in 2002, which I think was Carlton Fisk.
All right.
A long time ago.
Obviously made
it was
big,
not a, it was
big
not
impact.
Yeah, clearly not.
Yeah.
It was not a tremendous class of people getting in.
Yeah, my uncle owned a restaurant in Cooperstown, and they needed good classes there. Real quick, Sean in Oregon. Sean, what is your bucket list sporting event? I think you have one that a lot of people have.
Hey, I've been to a lot of different sporting events and a lot of stadiums, brother. But the oldest, most prestigious event in this country is the Kentucky Derby. And there's a 2-week-long festival that leads up to that. You know, like you talk about like week-long, there's Daytona week. That's a big one. But Kentucky Derby and Churchill Downs, brother, that's when everyone gets dressed up. Everyone's going out just to have a good time. You don't have these aggro fans. You're not looking around at riffraff sitting in seats around you. You know, that's a place where you can get the ladies dressed up. You go there and have a great time, brother. And I've always wanted to do that. That's top of the list, brother. And you look at every single year, you see the Emerald or Churchill Downs, and you're always surprised on who you see there. You're like, wow, look, this guy showed up. Oh, look, that guy showed up.
I love it. Yep.
Have a great day, you guys.
Thanks, Sean. So my dream is not just to go to Kentucky Derby, but be part of the gang with Tom Brady, Gronk, Julian Edelman, have some sort of unbelievably cool suit and a hat, and just be one of the guys. That would be bucket list. You know, one of the good-looking former NFL players.
So that's
Jimmy G.
even more impossible than bucket list.
Could you think I would stand out? You'd have Jimmy G, Tom Brady, Edelman, all wearing like amazing suits and hats and sunglasses.
7 beautiful men and you.
Then you have me in my charcoal gray suit from Men's Warehouse.
You know what? If you can make that happen, I'll buy you the clear frames to watch to wear with your outfit for that day.
You know, Gordon Damer's here with updates. Gordon, you were pretty stylish. We're talking about glass frames. Yours are cool. I feel like you could hang with Edelman and Brady at the Kentucky
You're
Derby.
basing this off my glasses frames?
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's
science.
I don't know. I feel like you got a nice sense of fashion. You would not be intimidated by going down to Churchill Downs with Brady.
I don't know that that's true. No, I think I don't know. We don't know each other that well just yet, but no, that would not be true.
You and Brady don't know each other, or no? You
and I don't know each other that well to make that statement. I'll say that.
Okay.
I think that would be a bit of a strange. What would I have in common with Tom to talk about? You know?
Tom Brady? Whew. I don't know much about you. You gotta have something. There's something in common with Tom.
No, he's got like a really weird diet.
Yeah, you don't eat
He's
avocado
had
ice cream?
Nothing but success in his life.
You ever dated a supermodel?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Fingers crossed. There's still time.
Still time.
You ever won a Super Bowl? You ever platooned with Drew Henson at quarterback?
Did you ever lose to Eli Manning in a Super Bowl?
Nope.
Twice, maybe?
Still no.
Have you ever been roasted by Kevin Hart?
I have cheated at my job.
Okay. All right.
We have to find common ground.
Okay, there it is.
There you go.
There it is.
We found it.
What's your Deflategate?
Yeah, Gordon Damer, the Tom Brady of the show.
Yes.
Give us some updates.
Synonymous, yes. Well,
some GOAT updates.
I know that the Masters is going on. The baseball season's in full swing. The NFL draft is less than 2 weeks away. But earlier this morning, I was informed the big story took place last night in Detroit.
Cunningham across the line. Left sideline. Shamet dogging in. Cade very calmly backing him down. Slips through, little shot, drops it in. He just nothing flusters him. 99-96.
34 points for him.
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? The call on the Pistons radio network. Possible first-round playoff preview. Pistons overcame a 13-point second-half deficit. Beat the Knicks last night, 115-106. Knicks saw plenty of Cade Cunningham. He put up 36. He also had 8 assists. For the Knicks, Jalen Brunson had to leave the game in the third quarter after rolling his ankle. That's not good. He did come back, only hit 5 of the 15 shots he put up. Karl Anthony Towns had 25, but even he knows.
Just got to be better and, finish the game out, play all 48 minutes. We had a good first half, just didn't play the second half the way we needed to.
This feels like Pistons in 6. I don't know about you guys, but...
Ooh, want to bet?
Bogusch, why are you doing this to these guys on a Friday? You know that EJ and Manny live and die with this team. die more often.
That's exactly
Gordon?
why I said it. Back to you, Tom Brady.
Yeah, if that was not bad enough for the Knicks, the Pacers won again last night. 114-112 over the Cavs. So they lock up at least the top 4 seed, but they're just one game behind the Knicks for that third spot with 2 to go. All right. I thought there might be more.
I know. I'm just trying to remember what happened when the Pacers played the Knicks last year in the playoffs.
The Knicks got hurt.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Kind of like how the Knicks didn't play basically anybody last night.
No,
OG,
got
Josh
hurt.
Hart.
Like kind of like Embiid got hurt and Paul
Gordon,
George got hurt and
moving
Cam
on.
Thomas got hurt. And
It's been 10 years since anyone went wire to wire to win the Masters.
The Knicks played no one last night except Bridges, Cat, and Brunson at times. Okay.
half their starting lineup was gone.
Okay.
This is where Maggie would come in. Gordon, get out.
I know.
Go Justin Rose.
Sorry, America. Justin Rose, 7 under 65, takes a 3-shot lead into today's second round of the Masters. He'll get his second round underway shortly. He tees off at 8:52. Scotty Scheffler, defending champ, came back. He put up a 4 under yesterday, so he's 3 back of the lead, along with Corey Connors. And a tradition unlike any other refers to the Masters. It also could have referred to Rory McIlroy meltdowns. He was at 4 under yesterday through 14 before 2 double bogeys in 3 holes, so he finished at even par. And then there's Jose Luis Ballester. He put up a 4 over 76. He also peed in Rays Creek before heading to 13. So what was he thinking?
I really needed to pee. Didn't really know where to go, and since JT had an issue around the green, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sneak here in the river. Probably the people would not see me that much, and then they clap for me. Probably one of the clubs that I really got today, like real loud. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it has to be a confidence booster. You get applauded for that.
Yeah. By the way, JT had an issue, meaning he was taking the porta potty and they couldn't get into the porta potty.
No, I think he needed a ruling or something on the 12 green.
I know. JT, yeah. It's an all-timer. I mean, listen, this guy will probably never win a Masters, but he's a Masters legend.
NFL, speaking of legends, NFL news this morning, Joe Flacco back with the Cleveland Browns, 1 year, $4 million. And if you like really long baseball rain delays, last night, Phillies-Braves was your jam. 2 hours, 45 minutes, extra innings to boot. Braves beat the Phillies 4-2 and 11. Marcelo Zuna, 2-run home run to win it.
They sat for 3 hours?
In the rain?
Wow, that makes no sense.
I hate when they do that.
I have a Zuna on my home run derby team. We're doing a home run contest, Gordon. So I have mixed feelings about this result.
Why only mixed?
I'm a Phillies fan.
Oh, okay.
There's no excuse for you to have mixed feelings when your team lost.
You're saying if you're if you play fantasy football and you win a fantasy football match, but it costs your team a game, are you honestly not slightly happy about that?
I never root for my fantasy goes out the window whenever the Jets or any of my teams are playing.
What about bets?
I
What
don't
about
really
real money?
bet against the Jets.
That's probably a good policy. Thank you, Gordon.
Bad policy. I probably should.
Yeah, this guy would be a millionaire.
Thank you, Gordon. And by the way, take the compliment when you get compared to Tom Brady. Don't argue back.
I will take it, yes.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And also, compared to us, you do have Brady aspects because it's not a high bar around here. All right.
Did you just call him the least ugly person here?
I don't know if I said that, but I thought it. Okay. Cleveland Browns signed Joe Flacco. What does that mean for the NFL draft? We'll get in that next. Maggie and Perloff show.
Joe Flacco?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff show, breaking down the Cleveland Browns acquisition of Joe Flacco, comeback player of the year in 2023, balled out, fits Kevin Stefanski's offense really well. When I think of Stefanski, I think of his mentor, Gary Kubiak, and that offense where basically you need a guy who can roll to the right, fake a handoff, and throw the intermediate to deep pass, and that's Joe Flacco. I really like this.
I get it. What's interesting to me, I'm going to steal a tweet from my buddy Bill Eckes from SiriusXM NFL Radio. This also means the Browns are not going to trade for Kirk Cousins. Forgot about that too. That Kirk is kind of lying around too.
Well, what was the money again? I know with incentives it got up to 13.
Yeah, it starts at 4 according to the tweet and goes up to 13.
So 4 is backup money. You could go with Cousins and Flacco, especially with Cousins coming a year and a half off Achilles. I don't think it ends.
I mean, it feels like it does. Like they're gonna pay Deshaun Watson while he's hurt, and they're gonna trade an asset for Cousins and have Flacco and have Pickett.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
draft Kyle McCord.
Right, yeah.
And apparently, they've been linked to Jalen Milroe a lot. There's a lot of really smart draft media people who say that Browns like Jalen Milroe, who's stylistically couldn't be more opposite of Joe Flacco, the Alabama quarterback. A lot of interesting choices there. We're also talking about bucket lists, sports bucket lists. Would Augusta and going to the Masters be at the top of your list? Personally, I would love to go down there. I love watching it on TV. I've never had a pimento sandwich. I'm curious. I don't know if I would love it. But I would love, if I could do anything around the Masters, going to that dinner with the former champions when the high-end menu, that would be amazing. Imagine just sitting there next to Tiger and, I don't know,
Well, as long
Jack.
as you got to have a good year, though, because you went through the menus the other day, and some of them are you want to avoid.
They're on a good trend, though.
They're on a good trend, yeah.
I saw one guy had grilled chicken breasts. I can't remember who it was, and he's getting killed.
But see, I think I'd rather have that. I'm not really an adventurous eater,
Yeah.
so I'd rather have that than like a South African delicacy of a thing I've never had before.
Game meat, like elk and stuff, I'm all about that.
You were reading, and you had a guy from Northern Ireland who had some weird concoction. the other
cottage
day.
pies.
Yeah, like
Danny Willett.
Yeah, so like a couple of those are just out of my league.
Oh, we found out today that Andrew Bogusch has the palate of a 6-year-old.
No, more like a 12-year-old, because I don't have just chicken fingers.
I'm reading that Nick Faldo had a bad one.
Upgraded to fries now, huh?
Or Nick Faldo was complaining. Nick Faldo, coolest guy in the history of golf, by the way. Okay, Bubba Watson went with chicken, mashed potatoes, and mac and cheese. By the way, kind of basic, but kind of delicious.
I would argue that you only get one, though, of the mash or the mac and cheese. You got to pick one.
No, I get both. Get both.
Ooh, I don't know. I think that sounds pretty good. All right, let's go to Jay in Nashville. Jay, is the Masters on your bucket list?
I mean, I've already been to a couple pro events and everything, and really it's not, if you've caddied before, it's really not what it's cracked up to be because, you got to fight through all those people, and I'm going there to see the player. I want to follow that player around, get some tips, see how everything, what he does, how he walks up to the ball, how he approaches the hole, all that different type of stuff. I'm trying to make my game better. But, going there to socialize, no, I'm going there to watch that particular player. And if you're going there to have a good time and watch that player, you're going to do a lot of walking that day. And you're going to be fighting through a whole bunch of people. So, yeah, it's really, you know what I mean? And I used to be a caddy, and I was telling EJ on the phone, my bucket list, I've already had it. I used to caddy at a place called Valley High in Las Vegas. And I had Eric Dickerson and Ronnie Brown. His last name is Brown, but he was the Super Bowl MVP. And then the group ahead of us, we had Larry Brown,
Yeah.
And then the group ahead of it is Charles Barkley and Joe Pesci, and I think it was Robert De Niro with them too. But, I mean, really, I was just caddying for some regular dude. This is like pre-9/11. This is when, Silicon Valley was just starting off, and that's where this guy was from. But, I caddy for him 18 holes, and we come back around. He's like, let's play another hole. I was like, let's play another hole. Next you know, we roll up on Eric Dickerson and Larry Brown and then Charles Barkley and them. And it was just such a cool day because, I mean, it got to the point the guy was like, you ain't got a caddy anymore today. Just drive the cart. He's like, this is the best day of my life. And the thing about it, all of them were just regular people, especially Charles, who always had so much respect for Charles. Because, like, a celebrity by when you see them by themselves, walking around by themselves, not a care in the world, that's a really cool celebrity.
Yep.
You know what I mean? No entourage or nothing like that. And that's how Charles was. And then on top of that, he's a person that wants to be approached. Not some celebrities like, no, I'm not taking no autographs today, no selfies. He's not like that.
Yeah.
Thing with Charles is like, just don't approach him with a bunch of silly BS. Then he might flash on you. He's not about all that. But he's a really approachable person. That's why
totally
he said
agree.
something crazy on TV. But I'm like, I know the real. I've met the real Charles.
I met him.
And
Yeah, Jay, I agree. I came up before I was even in this industry, met him at a bar in Philadelphia. Could not have been nicer. He is the man. He's huge. By the way, how big is he in person? People do not know.
He's big in person. Like he's like, how you meet NBA players and they're just they're real tall, but it looked like you could blow on them. You know what I mean? And they'll sail away. Because they're real. Charles is big, like tall and big. And you know what? His golf swing is really not like that in person. That's just for TV. The guy really can swing. He can really hit the ball. He's not. All that stuff is made for TV, but he really does have a swing.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. That's a pretty good.
That's a good one.
That's a good group to go with Joe Pesci and Charles Barkley and play golf.
And you say maybe De Niro was in there
Yeah,
too?
maybe De Niro. I mean, I'd be a little terrified of Pesci at certain points. Still scares me. If, say, you said, "Hey, Joe, that was a funny line." What do you mean funny? That would be a little daunting.
Those guys don't get it.
No. I just watched. It's funny. Eric Dickerson's Football Life the other night on TV. Amazing dude. By the way, I would caddy for him. All-time great running back. That's out of left field. All right, coming up, more Cleveland Browns talk. What does signing Joe Flacco mean for the NFL draft? Does that mean the number 2 pick is a done deal, and who will it be? Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
But now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got
Daly's talking, running his mouth, saying I'm the reason that the streams go south. Job is crashing, Ryan's gone dark, shipping more stock like an old drunk car. I got my boots up, my hands on the board, pushing their buttons like a digital lord. Maggie and Perloff, they shine like gold, while the others freeze like a blizzard so cold. I got my boots up, my Yo, Daly in the chat saying Captain. Daly's in the chat. Now Daly rode into town with suspicion in his eyes, saying Kaplan's got a secret and he's hiding it inside. Sack Job's lost in darkness, Ryan streams a mess. Chappelle Wolf's just a spinning wheel.
I got a little
Lord, what a distress.
I'm sorry.
Maggie and Perloff, they shine so bright like a star in the desert on a Texas night. Daly says it's shady, but I swear on my name, I just push the buttons, I don't play no games. Now Peter Bellotti, well he don't show, and that man's supposed to be running this show. If there's a tech problem, don't look at me. Ask the guy who's missing more than Tennessee team. So Daly, my friend, don't spread that lie. I ain't no bandit, I just make strings fly. But Maggie and Perloff, they shine so bright like a star in the desert on a Texas night. Daly says it's shady, but I swear on my name, I just push the buttons, I don't play no games. Now Peter Bellotti, well he don't show, and that man's supposed to be running this show. If there's a tech problem, don't look at me. Ask the guy who's missing more than Tennessee team. So Daly, my friend, don't spread that lie. I ain't no bandit, I just make strings fly. Maggie and Perloff, they shine so bright like a star in the desert on a Texas night. Daly says it's shady, but I swear on my name, I just push the buttons, I don't play no games. just makes dreams fly.
30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogusch sitting in for Maggie Gray. Appears like we've lost Bogusch.
He's in Uzbekistan now.
Bogusch is obsessed with the chairs in our office today. We've had what we call Chairgate around here, an equipment malfunction that's been going on for 2 weeks. I've stayed out of the fray, but Bogusch has been at war with his coworkers about his chair, and now he's coming back. He was just something. Yeah, he was asking for a screwdriver, which is never a good sign. Did you break something involved with the radio or your computer or the chair? What's going on?
I broke a fingernail.
Oh, no.
And I broke, I didn't break, but I got something stuck in the mixing board in our alternate studio.
How did all of this just happen?
Yeah.
You were just on the air 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, I went to the other room to record my Sports Minute, and I plugged my headphones in, and my headphones have a detachable jack to make it fit the input. And when I took the headphone out, just my headphones came out. The jack is still in the thing, so I was trying to get it out with my hand, which is how I broke my fingernail. Then that led me to ask for a scissor, a screwdriver, something strong and sharp that's not my fingernail to dig the jack out of the machine.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
But now you have different headphones.
I do. I have my usual headphones on now, yeah.
And does the fingernail hurt?
It doesn't hurt, but it's gonna it's broken, but not separated. So when I cut off the broken part, I'm probably gonna have some exposed.
The worst
cuticle or whatever.
I hate that. I hate breaking fingernails. It's happened to me before. It can be really painful when it's exposed. So that was not
actually it does hurt. Can I go home? How does that work?
Yeah. Oh, that was not a good break. That's some clunky.
My minute's in though.
Yeah, good. I've had some clunky moments. What was your minute on?
It was about this is sneakily my favorite sports week of the year.
Oh, because I know the Masters.
We got the Masters. You've got new baseball still. The season's still new. You've got NBA, NHL regular seasons winding down. The Frozen Four was last night. And this weekend for me is the transition into spring. The Masters weekend, we're coming off the Final Four. Again, baseball season, got games in the sun, and it's been cold this week in Europe, so we needed it. This makes me feel like we're turning a corner.
Okay.
And that we're now in spring, which means summer's almost here.
We've had this argument on the show before. Anybody who thinks that spring sports, NBC, when I worked there, called it championship season.
Yes, I think they still do, don't they?
Anybody who thinks spring sports are better than September are out of their mind.
Hi.
How's it going?
Boo this man.
Oh, there is nothing like September when football starts and baseball's still going on. It is the greatest feeling in the world. I like this week, and I understand what you're saying, but you're telling me it's as good as that first weekend when you get Thursday night college football, sometimes Friday night college football, Saturday all day on the couch, Sunday all day on the couch, and primetime games are exhausting. You can't go anymore, but then there's another football game. That is the best.
The first 3 weeks of the NFL season, the first 5 weeks of the NFL season is still just carryover of the preseason that they haven't really been able to get fully.
Those games stink.
The first 5
You're
games
crazy.
of the NFL season stink. It's like glorified preseason games.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
You watch these games?
Yes. No, you know what?
Yeah.
I usually don't start watching until October.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly it sounds like it because the way you're talking. I mean, we had the Chiefs 2 years in a row in those first games of the year. Those are always sloppy, not exciting games. They're not fun.
You're crazy.
Football don't start
Yeah,
until
if
It's
you
not crazy, but you're not explaining why those games are good.
Because the
you don't
NFL
remember
seasons, I don't need to explain it. It's so obvious that obviously the best time of
You
year
don't
is when
remember
football
anything,
starts
you don't remember
again.
anything that happened in those games. That's why you're not saying anything. 'Cause
I
it's not
remember very
memorable.
well that I remember the Eagles beat the Packers 34-29 on Friday night in Brasilia.
Yeah, you hated that. You were like, they're in Brazil. This game was sloppy. There's all these turnovers. The field is terrible. This was a bad thing for the NFL. We did all this.
He's just a mark, guys. Oh, football's back. Yeah, life is
Oh, my
better
God.
now.
No.
Now I got games.
What is the matter with you guys? Are you guys being serious right now? You don't think that the return to football is the greatest week of the year?
It's number two.
Actually.
It's number two.
Yeah.
For me, I think, I see with Bogusch, so I did this on a show a couple of weeks ago. I think the start of March Madness is the beginning of what is the best time of the year, which is this March to April thing.
Yeah.
Where it's March Madness, then opening day, and then as soon as that Final Four, and then as soon as that's over, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs begin. I think that's the best time of the year. I think that the fall is second. I think it's great, but I prefer this time. Masters as well. You got it's a great time.
Totally disagree, especially in the fall when you got all four sports going in late October.
Yeah, but we're going in the wrong direction, too, in the fall. School is back in. And you know the cold's coming.
I feel like
salient points.
Thank you.
Everything is better when football is back. I don't know why.
I'm a more varied guy than that. We have more experienced tastes over here.
How are we going to word the poll here, EJ?
What is the best time of the sports year, spring or fall?
Okay, go to @Maggie and Pearl on X. I feel strongly about the fall. I feel like that's when you say sports is on, you're talking about the fall. It is the season. I know TV people feel the same way, but especially this fall, because you know what we're going to see? We're going to see Joe Flacco in a Browns uniform. I'm actually fascinated by this because Flacco balled out just 2 years ago. I know he's 40, but he could never move.
Flacco?
He's like me. He had no athleticism when he was young. He's the exact same guy at 40 as he was at 28. Still got the big arm. You know what's funny about the Browns? You look at their roster, and I know the Deshaun Watson thing has not worked out at all, but they do have, there's definitely talented players. Now, are there enough of them? Can they stay healthy? I have no idea. You're going to probably draft Travis Hunter at number 2. I hope you play him both ways. Then immediately you upgrade definitely the offense, because I think that's going to be the primary position for Cleveland. I think they'd be foolish not to put him in every play. He's unbelievable at receiver. And then use him in packages on defense if you want, or use him every play. He's going to be fine. Yes, Myles Garrett is still there. David Njoku stepped up as a star. They have veteran linemen. There's a lot of good things going. They have a really good coach at Kevin Stefanski. Yes. Are they a Super Bowl contender? No way. Can they be a 10-win team again like they were 2 years ago? Possible.
Are they still right now with Joe Flacco the worst team in their division?
You have no idea what is happening with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Is Trey Hendrickson there?
Doesn't appear that he's going to be.
I think he might be. Who's the quarterback in Pittsburgh?
Well, you like Mason Rudolph. You had them winning 10 games with Mason Rudolph. You're just giving away 10-win seasons this morning.
I do think Baltimore is going to be fantastic next year, but I do think this division is going to be probably the worst it's been in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I don't mind them signing Joe Flacco. And I guess I didn't mind the Giants signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. And I can't not detach these decisions from Shedeur Sanders.
Yep.
Like, this is, again, further confirmation that teams are lukewarm on Shedeur, because these two teams, if they liked him, they'd be fighting for that second pick. And and one of them would take him and be super happy about it. Instead, they have signed old retread quarterbacks with limited ceilings to give themselves a way to not pick Shedeur.
Well, like him. I mean, they might like him, but number 2 overall like him. I think.
Yeah.
I keep saying this. I think we're looking at kind of a Kirk Cousins-like quarterback. Really good, could throw for 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns, but I'm not sure they see the upside. I think it's because he's not a big guy. He has a very good arm, but not a killer arm. He's good at things like anticipation, and he goes through his progressions well. So he's good, not great. And do you do that at number 2 when you have needs all over?
Yeah, and at first I would go, well, if you like him at 21, just take him at 2 and be done with it. But I understand as well the idea of, well, why don't I try to get more assets out of it? But when you do that, when you pass on him when you're on the clock at 2 or 3, it means to me that you're okay with not getting him at all.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think they are.
And again, I think that to me that's a negative about him. Like you were able to pass over him.
You're passing over him for a generational player in Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter.
Yeah, but I think the metric still tells you to take a quarterback in this situation, and it appears that they're both not going to take the quarterback. The Giants desperately need one.
Well, we had Ryan Wilson on from CBS Sports HQ last hour. He did mention the opportunity cost of taking quarterback means you're not in next year's quarterback draft. That's what happened to the Steelers. They took Kenny Pickett and they boxed themselves out of future and drafts. I'm not sure next year's draft class is going to be so great because I have a theory that Arch Manning's going back to school. In 2 years, it's going to be a ridiculous quarterback draft. You have DJ Lagway, Dylan Raiola, maybe Arch.
So you're shifting me now to 2027.
Yeah. Yes.
You're asking me to sit tight as a Giant fan in my Kerry Collins jersey until 2027 now?
Well, I think the Giants could convince Arch to come out. We'll see. You never know with next year's quarterback class. It'll probably be better than this year's. This year's is thin. There's no doubt about it.
Bogusch, the Eagles fan in him, in 2 years from now, he's going to be saying, wait until the 2029 draft class.
Yes.
That's the draft class you really
Well,
want.
I got to tell you, a lot of people who follow the Eagles and did not love Kenny Pickett there. He did not have a great run in preseason. He looked worse than Tanner McKee. So I was curious. Wait, why are you laughing at that?
No, I thought you were going to double down on your projection and go, a lot of people tell me the high school juniors are really good right now.
Oh, yeah.
So that 2030 draft class is the one you want to target.
I was actually getting to Kenny Pickett. So Kenny Pickett almost lost his job to Tanner McKee. The Browns now have Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. I don't think Pickett has a chance to win that job. I think it's going to be Flacco. We'll see. Maybe Kevin Stefanski finds lightning in a bottle. What if they do this? Draft Travis Hunter number 2. They have the first pick in the second round. Get Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. Then I'm giving you a skill position group. Jerry Jeudy and Travis Hunter, wide receiver. David Njoku at tight end. And how about Travion Henderson, who is going to be a screen pass monster at running back with Kevin Stefanski as a head coach. A lot of experience on the offensive line. They never are healthy. But if those guys stay healthy, can you squint and see a very good offense?
Yeah, so they are certainly staying with the comparison. They seem to me to be closer to being a good team than the Giants do. And again, that might just be my Giants fatigue and backlash and angst.
Yep.
But I see your point. And they were surprisingly bad last year. So Flacco does give them a boost. I just am not completely sold yet on how big of a boost it is, but that would be a nice draft haul to come home with.
Yeah, I think I'm going against the grain a little bit by saying Joe Flacco is going to ball out here. He is 40. I don't think a lot of people are going to be high on the Browns. I'm sure their win total with Flacco would be 6.5.
Yeah. And that might still be an over bet because they could win 8.
Yeah. Because they have before, because we've seen it before. I got to tell you, Myles Garrett alone wins you a bunch of games. When he gets hot in a game, he can, and we saw it last year, even a game or two that he won. So Cleveland, not going to draft a quarterback. It looks like they signed Joe Flacco. Your Giants sit at number 3. Is there any doubt they're taking Abdul Carter? They've now met with him 4 times. His foot got a passing grade. At least that's what his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, says. So it looks like we're going Cam Ward 1 to the Titans, Travis Hunter 2 to the Browns, Abdul Carter 3 to the Giants.
Yeah, and I said to you guys last night, like I like this draft for the Shador intrigue, and it's still there, but it feels a little less intriguey this morning because I feel like we've landed on the Browns not taking him.
It's not a great draft. It's just not.
It's not a flashy draft after, Travis Hunter's flashy. There's no doubt about that. And if Cam Ward is as good as people say he is, then that's a flashy pick for the Titans. But after that, we don't have a ton of super stud wide receivers and stuff like that. So I get that. Apparently, it's a deep draft. It's a good draft into the 4th round. You're going to get really talented players. But to me, the Browns and the Giants, and then what happens at 4 after what they do at 2 and 3, that's a little juicier than sometimes we get in these drafts.
Well, here's the problem with the draft. The great positions are, everyone says the defensive line is deeper than ever. Todd McShay predicts it'll be the heaviest first 3 rounds of defensive linemen in the history of the draft. Running back is really deep, and tight end is really deep.
Yeah.
What are the 2 positions that you do not want to use a high pick on? Because
all of the ones that you just mentioned.
Because running back's one of the cheapest positions on offense. It is the cheapest position. Tight end is the other cheap position. So you get those guys in the first round, and you're paying a premium rate for a young tight end, or it doesn't make any sense. This is a Daniel Jeremiah theory. Why would you draft a tight end at number 5 like Tyler Warren, who's fantastic out of Penn State? Then automatically he's about the 4th highest paid tight end in the NFL. You get no rookie salary cap benefit out of that.
But I believe then the follow-up argument is tight ends don't get huge second contracts. So you're not, if you're getting him past that, then you're not also paying him like he's a wide receiver. He's not getting Justin Jefferson money on the back end of his cheap rookie deal.
That is next level thinking.
Because
you're playing chess. I'm playing checkers.
McBride, who was not a first round pick, but he just got
fifth round pick or
$43 million
pick.
guaranteed. Like even Kelsey's deals have never been astronomical.
Yeah, first round tight ends are a disaster though. They have very, very bad history.
Yeah, I just go back to what we said before about I just want good players. I just want good players, and I'll figure out how to use them in my system. I'll be malleable, and I'll figure out whether put them here, put them there. I want good players.
I don't think that's the right approach.
I don't think best player available is the way to go?
It is the way to go. I think you need a plan. I think the great teams build their teams in certain ways and just go heavy on the offensive and defensive line. I'm sure when the Eagles were drafting offensive linemen, there were other skill position players and good players around, but they're like, we have to make our trenches strong. I think it's more of a holistic plan. It's not just the best player available. I think you go into drafts to be like, I want to build this team to be strong up front to support this.
And I don't mean you should leave a draft with 5 safeties and a guard because that's who is the best guy on the thing. But if Tyler Warren, if I think he's going to be Travis Kelce, I'm taking him at 6.
Okay.
And I'll figure out my offensive line the next time I'm on the clock.
So EJ is a New York Jets fan, and they actually might have this exact same issue. They pick a number 7.
Yeah.
Do you want... Tyler Warren could be a star, and he's flashy, and maybe the Jets with Justin Fields, the quarterback, could use some flash. Would you rather go flash there, or would you rather go offensive lineman, boring, second year in a row? Boring, but in my opinion, what the smart teams do.
I go line. I think you're right. And I love Tyler Warren. I know I've talked about him a bunch on this show, but when you're the Jets, I think the problem is when you're certain teams like the Jets or the Raiders last year, they took Brock Bowers. I don't think they regret it per se because he is a great player, but it just feels like adding that guy, you might not maximize his value because your team is still so far away. So with the Jets, I just think they're starting at 0 if you don't have an offensive line, which they don't. They have a decent left tackle and they have a decent guard, and then that's kind of it. So you got to build the offensive line. What's the point of having Warren if Fields can't give him the ball? So I would go Membu.
I'm sorry, Trey McBride was a second-round pick. I screwed that up, but he was not a first-round pick. The high picks at tight end are obviously Kyle Pitts, who got caught up in the bad offense, and TJ Hawkinson, who didn't work out in Detroit. They moved on. And you go through top 10 tight ends have never really worked out that well.
Although Bowers was special.
13,
and
though.
Laporta was 16?
Laporta was second round. Yeah.
Why do I think it was middle of the first? Okay.
All the great ones were most of them were second round. Eric Ebron was number 10 to the Lions in 2014. Was Evan Ingram a late first rounder?
I believe he was
a first rounder.
Yeah.
He was not good.
I was at that draft in Philadelphia. That was the Philadelphia draft.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Bogusch, about the tight end?
So his history says you're right and I'm wrong.
Yeah, I have a good buddy who has one draft commandment: don't draft a tight end high.
Is he in position to make picks?
No. He's in the media.
Okay.
And it's kind of like...
I
don't know if you're going to win a Super Bowl with that philosophy because there's a lot more to building a team than, just avoiding tight ends.
Right.
Vernon Davis, number 6 overall. That worked out for the Niners a little bit. But the problem is you have to pay them. Kellen Winslow, number 6 to the Browns. How'd that work out? I don't remember.
Well, it didn't end well.
I'm just kidding. It didn't start well or end well. That guy was off his rocker. Jeremy Shockey to the Giants. That was pretty cool for about 2 years.
Yeah, he was a very good player.
Yeah, he was.
That's my forever Giant tight end.
This is a big tight end. There are people who think this is one of the great tight end classes of all time. But again, I think you have to be careful. There are also people who think Tyler Warren's the second best tight end in this class. I'm not kidding, EJ. There are Colston Loveland fans who think he's going to be a better receiver than Tyler Warren.
Some people like Chase Taylor, too.
Yeah, and your guy from Miami,
and Elijah
too.
Arroyo, yeah.
It's a good tight end class. So we'll see. I don't know if that makes for an exciting draft. I think Travis Hunter's pretty exciting in number 2. I'm gonna watch this thing. Question for anyone out there: we're doing bucket list events. bucket list sporting events. Do you think the NFL draft is a bucket list event? Going to it in person, especially this year at Lambeau?
One of my best friends from college, that was his bucket list thing, and that's why we went to the draft in Philadelphia, because he's a huge Eagles fan. He said the draft is in Philadelphia, let's go. So we took the long trip from Buffalo to Philadelphia. So I know one dude who has the draft as a bucket list thing.
I always wanted to go when it was at Radio City as a New Yorker.
Yeah,
I really
never
wanted
made
to go. No, my parents never. They both worked weekends. It just never worked out. I was a kid.
Yeah, I wanted to go, and then I went to the one where the Texans took David Carr, and we knew
Whoa,
he was the
0-1.
You're a dinosaur.
We knew he was the pick, and the entire 20 minutes still went off the clock, and I was like, I'm never doing this again.
That was a bad era when they were signing contracts to guys that weren't drafted yet.
Yeah.
That was not fun.
And letting the entire time to make the pick went off the clock.
That was ridiculous.
So was that at the Paramount? Or
No,
where?
that was still Radio City.
No, but they used to do it at a different building in New York in 2001. You sure it was Radio City?
I'm pretty sure it was not
the small theater.
It used to be in the
theater
Garden.
at
It used to be called the Felt Forum, right? Now
yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure that was at Radio City.
Okay.
Feels like Radio City one, yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I did get it wrong earlier. It was Carlton Fisk when I was there for Hall of Fame weekend, but it was 2000, not 2002.
Oh, kind of
So
like
I could be wrong on the David Carr draft. I'm pretty sure it's at
Pearl's also right on this. This was at the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
The theater at Madison Square Garden.
All right.
They didn't move to
Andrew
Radio
Perloff?
City till much later, I don't think. And I've been to a lot of the New York drafts. I was at that Philadelphia draft. Everyone was all excited. I think the Eagles took Derek Barnett. It was
I think so, yes.
such a
Yes,
letdown.
they did take Barnett that draft.
But we want to hear your bucket list. Is the NFL draft? Is it the Masters? Is it the World Cup? Is it Wrigley or Fenway? Give us a call, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, Bogusch is so fired up about our next topic. I think you've mentioned it all morning long. You spent most of last night listening to this interview. It is fascinating. There is a stat that is possible coming out of this interview that will absolutely blow your mind if you're a baseball fan. That's next, Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This MLS game preview is sponsored by Lowe's. Members get more with My Lowe's Rewards. Don't wait. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help you save. Manny, what do we got on the docket this weekend?
Perloff, no aggregate needed on Sunday afternoon, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central Time. Lionel Messi, he will step foot on the pitch of Soldier Field as Inter Miami travels to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Fire. Miami currently sits second in the Eastern Conference, a point below the Columbus Crew with one less game played, and is coming off a thrilling comeback in the CONCACAF Champions Cup over LAFC. The Fire, they're seventh in the East with 11 points. They fell to the Red Bulls last Sunday, 2-1. Inter Miami, Chicago Fire, Sunday, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central.
Got to be honest, seeing Messi live, that'd be a little bit of a bucket list thing. It's a little tricky because you never know in MLS if he's actually going to play. Is anybody who's put that on? I don't know who's a big Messi fan here. But
That's my GOAT. That's the best player that has ever played.
Have you made any efforts to see him over here?
Not a single one, because I know that with the way that my bank account works and the way that the ticket prices works, it doesn't really mesh.
Yeah.
And he also hasn't played in this area yet. Inter Miami, like whenever he plays the Red Bulls or NYCFC, it's usually down in Miami.
So it's interesting. We were talking about bucket lists in Augusta all day. To see one player, can that be a bucket list? I've seen LeBron play live. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen Jordan play live. I've seen Steph play live a few times.
One venue that I would love to go to, Camp Nou in Barcelona, where Barcelona plays. That's really fun. They're expanding it to 105,000 people.
I'm going to go to Old Trafford.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Yeah.
Manchester.
EJ, is there any player you haven't gotten to see that you want to see?
All of them.
I saw Steph. I've never seen LeBron. I'm not like clamoring, but I would want to see him before he retires.
I saw him. That's special.
I don't think so. Steph was the guy. Like, I flew to L.A. to see him.
I remember when I was a kid seeing a young Shaq live was crazy. That was because it was way different than anything you've ever seen.
NBA is the one I've seen almost everybody I want to in baseball and hockey, but the NBA I'm very far behind. Especially guys now. Like I haven't seen LeBron or Steph in person.
Steph is amazing.
I saw Jordan in person. It was a crappy Jordan Knicks game, but I saw him.
Yeah, I saw
was
Jordan.
He
I was
watching
3.
it or
no? He was a Bull.
Yeah, I've seen him.
The Knicks crushed them in that random game at the end of the year. I think I know what you're talking about. If it was a bad game.
I mean, I was like 9 or 10. It was a long time ago.
Oh, that was early then.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you one guy a lot of people would want to see, Shohei Ohtani. He belongs on. He's a guy I would definitely want to see, and I want to see him pitch. But Andrew Bogusch is very excited about this story because it's really interesting. Apparently, pitching might not be the best thing for him. Bogusch, give us a backstory here.
This blew my mind. You and I both know Pablo Torre. Maggie knows him as well. Doing a fantastic podcast. It wins awards on all these short lists for best podcasts. Pablo Torre finds out. The newest episode is with Dr. Tom House. I think most people, a lot of people listening will know that name. He is a pitching, throwing guru. And he sat down with Pablo. I think it's 45 minutes of just talking shop, basically, about Tom's life. Tom caught Hank Aaron's 715th home run in the Braves in the bullpen. So that's where he starts baseball history. And then as a player, pitcher didn't really pan out for him too well, but he knew what he was doing. Was one of the first people to kind of dive into the science of throwing a baseball, then a football. Yep. So in this long conversation, multiple topics, we get Tom House breaking down Shohei Ohtani as a hitter and a pitcher.
I'm going to say this I hope I'm wrong. I don't think his shoulders can handle it.
Yeah. So, Bogusch, why can't Shohei's shoulders handle this?
I think we have more from Tom so he can explain it and not my doofus brain.
It's a combination of a bunch of stuff. Primarily the thresholds with heavyweight training are really good for hitting, but not good for pitching. And the everyday stresses of throwing down the hill, when you generate energy on flat ground, the most you can get out of flat ground is about 4 times body weight in foot-pounds of energy. When you're going down the mound, you get about 6 times body weight. I don't think his shoulders can handle that, the deceleration.
So a couple of disclaimers here. If you're going to go listen to this whole thing in a minute, there is a lot of science in here. There's a lot of big words, a lot of things I've never heard of before. So at times it's a little confusing and to understand what is all going on in these different conversations and what Tom is talking about. Like even Pablo one time had to look up a word that he had just said to confirm what he knew, that if he knew the word or not. So there's a lot of heavy lifting in this. But I think the point with Shohei, and I thought of you right away because you have said this more than once on the show, is that Shohei's body, to be Shohei the hitter, puts Shohei's body, the pitcher, in danger. Because he wouldn't be shaped the way he is, so to speak, if he was just a pitcher. So for him to get in shape to be his max hitting potential makes his body go through too much stress when he's pitching, and it might break down, and then when he can't play, we miss out on both parts of him.
I don't need Tom House to tell me that. I'm not an idiot. Every pitcher breaks down, even the ones who aren't hitting every day. Of course he's going to break down.
But you were looking at it from a general thought of he has elbow problems. Every pitcher has elbow problems.
Yeah.
But Tom's argument is that specifically, I think I'm simplifying this correctly, is that he's too big to pitch long term because his body is under extra stress because of how strong and muscular he is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's already won 3 MVPs primarily as a hitter. So he doesn't need the pitching to be an MVP. So what else? You're already the most valuable player. Why risk it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that if he decides to only do one, that he devalues that contract, or all of a sudden it's even more of an overpay by the Dodgers. But I just straight up, I like being amazed by him hitting for 4 days and pitching for a 5th.
Me too. It is cool. But can I tell you about another player who faced a similar situation?
Luka Doncic.
You ever heard of George Herman Babe Ruth?
I've heard a thing or two about him. Jason Kidd told me once about him.
Ohtani's kind of the modern Babe Ruth. He is by far the most consistent best hitter. Now, you have Aaron Judge too, but I feel like Judge, talking about breaking down. The other thing in this Tom House interview that I'm fascinated by, what's this about a super fastball he's working on?
Up until yesterday, I swore that the medical community had decided that we were basically at the max potential of velocity, like 104, 105, 106.
Sure.
Like that is basically the most an arm can do. And then Tom House dropped this yesterday.
We know the human arm can go 118 miles an hour. I've done it a bunch of times with pitchers. Can they do it for a game, a season, an inning, whatever? Haven't figured out how yet.
The ceiling, though, is 118.
Maybe not an everyday pitcher, but it's possible.
118?
Yeah.
118?
Sometimes I crank up the softball pitching machine to 60, and it's way out. I don't think I could do 118.
Is the dude's arm going to go with the ball at a home plate?
That's not Doesn't sound sustainable.
And I think I went back and listened to that section like 3 or 4 times. I think he's saying that someone already has thrown in front of him somewhere near 118. They just can't do it consistently, and they don't know what it. So I think he has said someone's already physically actually done this. It's not just a theory that they think they can get there, that someone has flirted with this number, which is crazy times.
It's totally crazy.
I've done it a bunch of times.
But is this like a long driver in golf? There are some guys who can hit a golf ball further than anyone that are not professional golf players.
So the bigger argument or the bigger explanation is what you're trying to do is, and this is one of the words that Pablo had to research on the fly. I think it's myelination or myelinization. What you're doing is if you're training correctly, trying to get to the goal of 118 miles per hour, if you do it right, you're teaching your body that it's okay to do this. That you're teaching your body, and they got into like, you're creating wraps around fibers and neurons. Like it got really scientific along the way. But you're conditioning your body that hey, body, you can do this. And your body will figure it out and create this system that you hope is repetitive, almost like mindlessly, and it will let you do it. That you're almost talking your body into getting there.
Amazing. I have one thing. I was reading a story about this. Do you think of Tom House more as a baseball guy or as a football guy, as a coach, not as a player?
So I know him primarily as a baseball guy who part of his regimen, he has baseball pitchers throw footballs. Like that was always a thing. Is like one of his things was you should throw a football as a baseball player because that's good strengthening for your arm. In this interview, I either never knew or forgot, but he rebuilt Drew Brees after his shoulder injury.
I think of him, and it's not Brees. He's the guy who turned Tom Brady into Tom Brady.
So that comes up too. And it was Matt Castle that brought Brady in. That he was already working with Matt Castle, and he said, hey, could I bring Tom Brady by?
He's a USC, right?
And Tom House was like, you can bring Tom Brady by. And then he said Brady was, everything we already know about Brady, he experienced.
So Brady was already good when he got there.
Yeah, but was doing things technically wrong.
Right.
But like he said, Tom told him one time that he had 17 spiral notebooks full of notes that he had taken with his time in Tom House, with Tom House. That he was an insane student. You had to pay, every throw mattered. He said Tom used to mess up on purpose to see if Tom House was paying attention. So he would see it and give him feedback. Like he was testing Tom House to make sure he was giving the right commitment that Brady was giving.
Couple of psychos.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely. I mean, and Tom Brady, I think his arm did drastically improve in the NFL. All quarterbacks do, by the way. That's one thing. We're talking about Shadour's arm strength. I got to tell you, name a quarterback whose arm didn't get stronger in the NFL, but you go there. First of all, you get coaches like Jordan Palmer, who I think actually knows House well too. All these guys teach you how to throw, then you throw a million times every day. So that's funny because, I always talk about Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's arm exploded when he got in the NFL. I know you don't think of him as a strong arm quarterback. I think he worked with House too at some point. All these guys have been in there. These guys make a difference. You get to the NFL. So that's why arm strength in the draft is a silly topic a lot of times. It never really works out. And by the way, your guy, Zach Wilson, that's killer arm strength. And
worked out great for us.
Yeah, I'm sure he could throw the ball 118 miles an hour. All right, we got to get to some headlines. Gordon Damer, who we've already labeled the Tom Brady of our show.
I'll take it. That's a win for me.
Yes.
Heading into the weekend.
TB12, GD12, it's all the same thing.
Absolutely.
Give us some headlines.
I don't know that that's true. Second round of the Masters already underway this morning. First round leader Justin Rose already out there, picking right up where he left off yesterday. 1 under through 2 today, so now 8 under for the tournament. That's good for a 4-shot lead. He has led at the Masters before, never has won a green jacket in his career. Scotty Scheffler has. He's the defending champ. He comes into the day tied with 2 others at 4 under. And you might think, well, how important can the opening round be, right? Last 19 winners all were inside the top 11 in the opening round. NBA last night, Anthony Edwards with a night, 44 to lead the T-Wolves, 141-125 win over the Grizzlies. Those 2 teams trying to avoid the play-in. Ja Morant had 36, also unveiled his new 3-point celebration, tossing an imaginary hand grenade. You might remember he was fined $75,000 for an imaginary gun celebration earlier this season. He said that this is his new celebration until someone has a problem with it, and if they do, he'll come up with another one.
I mean, challenge accepted. Like, let's get him to make another one.
Oh, I know.
I need to see number 3.
You go from a gun to a hand grenade. You're going to have a rocket launcher
Like
on
a
your
bazooka?
shoulder?
Yeah.
I was
That'd be
thinking
cool.
of like the old Wile E. Coyote Acme detonator where you put the
Yeah.
plunger
TNT.
down. Yeah, TNT.
Or an anvil drops on his head.
Maybe he modernizes and pretend he's on a computer sending a drone somewhere.
That's really inside. That's a next level right there.
Well, I mean, if you go from gun to grenade, you're stepping up your level of destruction.
Absolutely.
I mean, are these big threes that he's hitting? Are these impactful threes or just like second quarter?
In the third quarter, 5 minutes left, third quarter.
Yeah, I think he was like 5 of 16 from 3, so it wasn't like a monster night. I'll have to check on
He
that.
took 16 threes?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. It is early in the morning. I'm not used to these hours.
I mean, a game winner. Can you imagine what he's going to do to that? It's going to be a nuclear bomb thing.
Maybe it was the type of thing where he came up with it. He thought it was so good. I got to take a lot of threes so I can work this in.
God, John Morant. Could John Morant just play basketball?
Speaking of playing basketball, Pistons in their season series against the Knicks took 3 of 4, including last night, 115-106. That, of course, could very well be a first-round playoff matchup.
Knicks
and
are
how about
scared in 5.
Cade Cunningham? He had 36 to go along with 8 assists last night. So not a bad night for Cade Cunningham as he gets ready, maybe.
Seems like it'd be a problem for the Knicks.
Could be. I mean, certainly was last night.
I mean, he's a problem in general, but yeah, the Knicks couldn't contain him yesterday. But it's another 4 dudes on the court at the same time as Cade Cunningham.
Right.
No, he's not a problem for the Sixers because they're not playing.
And don't look now, but the Pacers creeping up on the Knicks for that third playoff
I'll look
spot.
now.
Yeah.
Pacers wrap up home court for the first round for sure. They beat the Cavaliers 114-112.
Can they catch him?
They
Yes.
can. They're 1 game back, 2 to go.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Knicks can fall as low as 4th.
Well,
Which
I
I
mean,
should be okay with, to be honest.
listen, at least you gave away all your first-round picks for Mikal Bridges.
And at least you guys have Paul George.
You have Paul George and 30 wins, bro. Like, you can't tell me anything. You're a franchise player.
You can't
needs
hurt me.
knee replacement surgery. I mean, there's nothing you can tell me.
You know, I saw our friend Ricky Ricardo the other day. He, of course, does the Spanish language broadcast for the Yankees and the Spanish language broadcast for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Las Águilas.
And he said he's going to come in next week and show us a new Super Bowl ring. So, therefore, you guys can't talk to me because I got a championship in football. And
So-
that is why I am the sports king right now at the Maggie
Right.
and Perloff show.
But I have nothing, so you guys can talk to me apparently all you want.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Maggie's
I
got
have
a really
nothing.
Maggie's close, with the Bills. She could kind of step on you guys with your Jets fandom. But I'd say right now, I don't care if the Sixers are bad. What you can't
No,
hurt
but
me
this is
by
a basketball conversation. Football, you're right. I always big up the Eagles, but basketball, you can't. The
can't
Sixers
stand
are
the
an embarrassment.
Gordon, who's winning this argument?
Clearly you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're sitting closer to me, so that's how I judge these.
His name's on the show, so he wins.
Yeah, that's another one, right? And speaking of football,
And
Joe
I called him
Flacco-
Tom Brady, by the way.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Come on. Compliments go with compliment. 2023 Joe Flacco, comeback player of the year. That's when he was playing for the Browns. He'll be back playing in Cleveland, signing a 1-year deal, $4 million. He'll battle Kenny Pickett for the starting job, assuming the Browns don't go with a quarterback at number 2.
Thank you, Gordon. All right. Coming up, we have one of the weirdest NBA stories, and a superstar says something, Bogusch, but we have to translate this out of Serbian and into English.
Oh, good.
What does Joker really think about them firing the coach in Denver? That's next Maggie and Perloff show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Oh, yo. L-O. Man, he's got a whip full bass swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. That bat's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score. EJ's ducking low, getting ready to hit the floor. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Velotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's in the zone like he's up in the plate. But one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny in his bat to take the stage. While Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Velotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's in the zone like he's up at the plate. But one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Velotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Matty in his bat to take the stage. While Peter's on the grid, who knows what age.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff show. Andrew Bogusch sitting in for Maggie. We had a debate earlier, a debate that we've had many times in the past. What is the best month in sports? Bogusch, you said this week is pretty much your favorite.
Love it. Love it, love it. For everything it means, everything we actually get, I love it.
So I put up a poll. We put up a poll, Maggie and Perloff on X. Start of fall versus start of spring. 60% goes start of fall.
No,
I mean, come on. Football season. What is wrong with you guys? Football. It's football.
Yeah, I'm not one of these mindless guys that just, football's the best. Football's number one.
But also, September is the greatest month. The leaves are starting to turn. It's still warm out. You still have baseball playoffs. Everything is awesome in
September weather, better than April weather, yes. But again, but you know it's ending soon.
And the good thing about early season football, while it might be sloppy, your team is still alive. There's still hope.
Incorrect as well.
Yeah, you're talking just the Giants fans, sir.
Okay, maybe that's maybe that's behind what we're talking about.
Giants
also,
haven't seen October since 2000.
College football, just killing from 12 noon Eastern until 1 a.m. Eastern, watching football. There's what's
I gotta be
better
honest.
than that?
I don't.
What's
like,
better than that?
Well, what I like is that I'm not browbeaten into watching 13 hours of college football.
But you could jump in whenever you want during
I
that
got
whole
all or
time.
nothing.
Is it? Okay. All right, real quick. I still don't understand why the Nuggets fired Mike Malone. I don't think anyone does. I've been seeing a lot of reporting that the same thing happened in Memphis. The owners were worried that Malone was going to lead the Nuggets on a deep playoff run, and then you couldn't fire him. Do you realize how insane that is, Andrew Bogusch?
So, yes, I do, but there is a little bit of logic buried in there that if you're gonna fire him after the season, erase all scenarios where that would create you or would keep you from firing him. Like that does make a tiny little bit of sense to me. Like if you've decided that he's gonna be gone, and apparently they did in Denver, then fire him now so he doesn't win his job back, and then you are in the same scenario next season possibly.
It doesn't make sense. Isn't the whole goal to win? Anyway, the other thing, do you consult your superstar when you fire the coach? Apparently in Denver, they did not consult Nikola Jokic. Let's hear from the Joker.
I knew a little bit before everybody, and he told me like we made a decision, so it was not discussion, it was decision, and he told me why, and so I listened and I accepted. It's I'm not going to tell what he told me. I keep that private.
To me, that does not sound like a happy superstar.
I don't know what that sounds like.
Okay.
Like, to be honest, I listened to this. There's just like 6 minutes of him post game from 2 nights ago.
No.
And he's not an emotional guy.
Yeah. I need to go home.
And then because English is not his first language, I don't know if that's a part of this, if things are getting lost in translation, so to speak. But I heard like nothing in there, which makes me think that he's never not necessarily heartbroken that Mike Malone's gone.
Yeah, but I don't think he has a future title in Denver necessarily, because they won the championship and then the team said we're going to reduce payroll. And I hate to say it, you're seeing the results now. They have no depth, it seems like. You have the best player on the planet and you're not all about maximizing that. That seems wrong.
Yeah, Calvin Booth got it right a couple years ago in their title run, and he has not made smart decisions yet. But it's
money, right? I mean, isn't that the reason that he's not? If he could pay up for keep some of these guys, wouldn't he be okay?
Well, also too, then I guess part of the issue was guys that he drafted that he thought should play, Michael Malone wasn't playing. And so maybe like that Jalen Pickett dude would have been more it would have made Calvin Booth look better had Michael Malone played him, because part of this dynamic apparently was over Russell Westbrook getting too much playing time and too much forgiveness and too much leniency and too much support from Michael Malone that it was pissing off the players and the front office.
Absolutely. EJ, do you think Joker will be a Nugget long term?
No, because most guys aren't on their team long term. So I would say quickly no. I guess the only thing I would hold on to for hope, if you're a Nuggets fan, is he is the best player in the NBA. And I've seen him overcome things before, right? Like Murray missing an entire season with an ACL and he still wins MVP. Mm-hmm. He still takes them to the playoffs. So him being so special could mean that they salvage this thing this season and maybe they do find a way to win a series or two. It just seems like they've really put themselves behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, I don't think this is going anywhere good. And I do not like the trend of firing guys late in the season. Is just stupid. All right, we have a big weekend ahead because I know everyone here is rooting for my Masters bets.
Can't stress that plural enough.
Breakfast.
I took a philosophy. I picked actually 13 guys who I put a little bit of money for them to win it all. If some of these guys get hot today, then we might be getting breakfast. And I mean really hot, like all-time rounds. Because Wyndham Clark's already at +6. So
Daddy needs a 59.
Yeah. Minwoo Lee's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Highest score wins, right?
Yes. Joaquin Neiman is looking good, so I could win there. Victor Hovland has a chance. Robert McIntyre, I can't even cash out. I guess he had a bad day. Lucas Glover, I'm not sure he's playing. It got lost somewhere in the 7th hole. So
R.I.P.
I promise, though, if one of these 13 players hits, we are going to have many, many bagels on Monday morning. And Maggie's back. I'm sure many of you are excited about that.
From where?
I'm not telling you.
Uzbekistan.
Maybe we will fix the chair situation.
Oh, we did fix it.
All right. A big thanks to you, Andrew Bogusch, for filling in. Manny Rodriguez, EJ Stewart, Andrew Kaplan. Enjoy the Masters this weekend and join us on Monday with Maggie Gray.
Joe Flacco?
You're in a 5-minute break.